What up, homeboys? I am Sam Medina. I am the world's most handsomest Toren in the Southern Hemisphere, and this is gonna be the Unofficial podcast. Today, I got my homie here, Jake from Tree. We're gonna be talking about the Warrior. I got my settings on Discord open on him. There you go. I slandered you a little. There we go. So what's up, Jake? How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I can't wait to hang out and just talk about a bunch of random shit.
Oh, you don't even know. You don't even know. Okay, so we had the plan to start a little discussion about the Warrior thing because I think there is not nearly enough like in-depth discussions about the Warrior anymore, at least not on YouTube. So now we got Phase 3 coming up. So what is your general feel on Phase 3? What you think that's coming up like?
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about like how they're going to tune the armor basically. Like a warrior probably is going to be more and more amazing unless they keep on buffing the other classes, or they not say warrior's super amazing at the moment, but I'm worried about armor. I think that they're going to have to probably make the armor high, otherwise we're going to take off. Even though we got like crap runes, like if we get decent gear, just going to scale very hard. What are you thinking?
Yeah, like people always, I get on the first side of it, I get people that say it is boring, it is lazy to give us 10% more damage, but I think people don't quite fully understand that for a warrior, 10% more damage is not 10% more damage. It's more than 10% more damage because you get 10%, like not 10% quite, but you get more rage, which is more damage, which is more rage, which is more damage. It's like a positive feedback loop. So yeah,
exactly.
I think, if I'm being honest, I think just Blizzard got like the guy on the basement to map out how much damage the warriors are gonna need, and they are so scared of warriors being busted again that they just give us exactly what they think we're gonna need and nothing else. They don't even want to deal with like Theorycrafting a new ability at this point.
Yeah, I hope that if they're going to do weird stuff with armor, that instead of making if they're going to make bosses have different amounts of armor, I think it'd be better if they make the earlier bosses have high armor than the later ones. Because like right now in Nomer, I think there's a problem where you're worried about not being able to complete the last few bosses, and that's where Warrior's the weakest. And so I think that's like what makes people be worried about adding people to raid groups. But if instead it was like they sucked at the start and that balanced them out, I don't think people would be so worried about taking a Warrior to raid. So that's the kind of stuff I'm wondering.
Yeah, like transparency right now. Do you think the warrior? How do you think the warrior is? Because like from my point of view, even though people whine and complain and tell me the prod warrior in particular, I get that a lot. They all tell me it sucks. I always thought this is fine. You know, like it's not great, but it's fine. Like, how do you feel in Nomer?
Yeah, like I think that Warrior's not probably in a great spot for the average player. Definitely, if you look at the best warriors, they're doing excellent damage on all the low armor fights, and they're doing like just fine on the high armor fights. I think it'd be cool if they threw a bone to prot warriors, because it would be so easy. Put flat threat on Sunder armor, like just juice the crap out of it, and then make holding threat be trivial. I think that's a good thing about retail. Just make threat trivial, and then people will take any tank. And I don't think it really hurts the game either. I think like fighting for threat's a lame mechanic, and people DPS don't like it anyways.
Yeah, like, that's the thing about the warrior too, that like you can still tell a good warrior from a bad warrior if threat is not an issue, because like they are all raising DPS. It's as simple as that. And at the same time, like, for example, I am very disappointed in the Phase 3 runes. We're gonna dive into that later, but like the shield slam, like they gave us free shield slams. I was hoping, like, that's not the problem with shield slam. Nobody thought, oh my god, shield slam costs way too much rage. The problem with shield slam is that it doesn't scale with anything. It scales off your block value. It's absolute garbage. Like, just make it scale and like make us go pro. When I say Fury is the best build, people get upset at me like I'm saying I like it. I don't like it. I want to go pro, but that's just stupid though.
Yeah, like I think it'd be pretty easy to make a prot warrior that's balanced and fun. Even in classic, like at level 60, I used to, as an alliance warrior, I would go as prot and I could hold threat just fine on things like Zerging Thane, like where, you just kill him right off the bat. And threat was fine, but I was able to, take less damage. And people would say that stuff didn't work at all. And no, that totally worked. And, doesn't have to be that good. You just gotta be able to hold threat.
I think like there's another big thing, like, and that is like our doing as well a little, I guess, but like people assume when we talk about the most optimal build for tanks that it applies to them, and for the most part, like do you need to be popping Death Wish to hold aggro in a normal mom and pop guild of like 75 purple parsers? Probably not, okay? Like the insanity that you see at the top, and of course we cover it because like that's what you want to cover, the best thing. It doesn't really apply to most people to that level. Like you can get away with a lot of bad stuff if you like it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, even like 99 parsers in the alt run I was in, it was really high 99s. Probably where you won't be able to reliably pull or hold threat, or like making less threat means that if you have bad RNG on pull, you have a lot larger of a chance of losing the boss. But you can have a guild where the best players, like the top half, gets like 99 averages, not like 99.5s, and hold threat just fine at level 60. So I think maybe they should focus on making warrior fun in PvP and then just give like a gajillion flat threat to prot. Because if they had just had a lot of flat threat, they wouldn't have to worry about breaking PvP or making the DPS specs OP. Like just flat threat on Sunder. DPS doesn't want Sunder anyways.
Yeah,
so
and also there's another thing there, right? Because like I'm gonna tell you guys in the chat that something about how flat threat works, right? Like for example, shield slam, it has, I'm making the number at 400 flat threat. That's just any shield slam of any damage will do 400 threat, and then it has the damage, okay? So if you're doing something that most of the threat is the damage, like Devastate or like, I don't know, Bloodthirst, when you get a damage modifier, that is like you get that amount of percentage in more threat. But when you get extra threat, but it doesn't affect the flat threat that you get. So like one reason that you could get people to go back to being prot is that would make Defiance a lot better if most of your threat didn't come from damage but flat values, because Defiance affects the flat values and the damage bonus doesn't affect the flat values. That's another way they could have faced it. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I think something like that would be cool. I don't feel like Blizzard's done a very good job of being creative with the warrior because I understand that they're worried about the scaling. I kind of think that they should, if they think it's very, very hard to balance, they should kind of do what they did in Nomer, but just flip it, like make the early bosses harder, make the later bosses better for the warrior, and then just focus on PvP. Like I think it'd be cool if there was a rune that gave you a 3-second CD on Shield Slam and made it like dispel an extra like magic debuff. That'd be interesting for PvP. Like if you could just do 2 dispels like every other global. I don't think that'd actually be all that good since it's not like arena, but maybe that'd be interesting to people, just weird shit like that. And then they can just stay away from the PvE runes. Like maybe warrior just gets bad runes in PvE and like we're carried by the rage system. I don't think people would be too upset at that, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know, I remember the Rat of the Lich King, like Swifty was being prot on the PvP stuff and he was doing like 15k shield slams. Bring that back. I'm all over that. I'm going pro right now if that's the case.
Yeah. That shit was hilarious back in the day. I remember when I was a kid, there was a prot pally healer, prot warrior DPS 2v2 teams. Not to say that was super fun for the game. I don't know if anybody ever played against that. It was like pretty cancer, but there's ideas where they could balance warrior in PvP. Doesn't even have to be very good. Just make it like a little bit better in my opinion, because I don't really feel like it fills a niche at all. Although I'm not super into PvP myself anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of ways to like they could go about it, and like what you're saying, I just think they don't want to mess with it. I think they are so scared that it's gonna backfire because it is very clear from the way they designed the hunter in particular that honestly, I think they got no idea of how the class is gonna look like once they do it, which is absolutely outrageous, right? Like Classic is a fairly simple game. You can calculate the damage they are gonna do on a calculator, on an actual freaking Casio calculator. But yeah, I think they are like so not confident in their ability to like see what the warrior is gonna do that they just gave up on it and they just say, okay, all the classes are doing 15% more damage, so we're gonna give the warrior 15% more damage in flat runes and screw everybody else, which is not my cup of tea, but I guess it will work.
Yeah, I wish they would like do stuff such as they could hit up Guybrush, the guy who made the warrior sim, and talk to him and just make him sign an NDA so he doesn't like talk about stuff. Like probably they have to pay people to like get them to spend their time, but guys
That's
like Guybrush or any of the sim creators, they 100% know more about the combat system than anybody who works at Blizzard, because like the amount of code that like represents the sim for warrior DPS is tens of thousands of lines. I doubt anybody at Blizzard knows that much about that system. It's probably abstracted, and they're like, I don't have to touch that, so I'm not going to learn it. Because that's how I was when I was a programmer at Microsoft. Like, you don't fucking go learn extra shit. There's too much shit to learn.
Oh
You
no.
gotta pick.
My favorite part about that sim is that it is so complex that it is not even an equation. It's not like increasing your damage on Devastate will increase the damage in the equation. No, he like literally, it's like the name, he literally like runs a hypothetical scenario of the warrior doing DPS and he runs it like 10,000 times over because that is easier than making an equation for it.
I love that. That shit cracks me up.
Yeah, like the warrior is ungodly complex when you really look at the tiny details of it because everything interacts with everything. There is very few classes that work that way.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder what like a rogue simulator would look like because they're probably the next most complex class to sim just because it's melee, but they don't have rage. So I feel like the complexity of it is probably way less.
Oh yeah, because like this is one thing that I explain to people a lot and they don't get it when I say like the 10% more damage is better than I don't know, like Raging Blow and like and if you give a mage 10% more damage, it does 10% more damage. Like if you are not like into a warrior and you look at it and like at face value it makes a lot of sense when you think, yeah, I would rather get a new ability. But the warrior doesn't get 10% more damage. The warrior gets 10% more resources and damage.
Yeah, when they said that we got consumed by rage in the before Sod came out for Phase 1, I was like, oh my god, what the hell are these guys doing? Giving percent damage modifiers is so silly. They should like warriors, if you give them, especially now that we already are able to use half our globals, they should give us abilities because abilities will be very incremental damage increases. Unless it's like the abilities they've given to casters, which totally outclass their standard moves, like that's different. But warriors, like give them another variety of swing your weapon, do 5 more damage. That's easy to balance.
Yeah, in the worst case, it's a lot easier to take away because, like, when you take away 20% extra damage from people are like gonna riot. That's what I think. Like the main problem with No Meregan is right now. It's not that the warrior is wrong; it's doing bad. The warrior is doing great. It's doing like it's an upper A tier class right now. But like, if you give them like all these busted things on phase 1 and then you take it away from them, like they took away Raging Blow, they took away Consumed by Rage, they took away, I don't know, what else did they nerf? They probably nerfed something else, I don't remember anymore. They nerfed Devastate to hell and then they buffed it again. Devastate lost like 2/3 of its damage overnight. That was hilarious. And
yeah,
no wonder that the Warriors are mad even if they are doing fine.
Yeah, I don't get why they did the Devastate nerfs. Like, I get that it's a little lame that the optimal way to play it is practically to only hit one button, but in TBC that was the case the whole way. Like, I played a warrior in TBC, and you'd literally just hit Devastate and Heroic Strike and dual wield and get straight 99s. And warrior sucked in TBC for tank was some of the reason they probably wouldn't care. But you know, like you'd still do more damage and tank better in phase 1 of Sod if you weren't prod at all and you're just like a DPS spec that got threat. Because you could just do so much more damage than like 400 DPS.
And that was after Rage normalization, which like caveat here, because every time I say this, people say like I think they should normalize Rage in vanilla. I know they are not gonna normalize Rage in vanilla. Like people are gonna mold that to no end. But if you really want the water to be balanced, like I think they did the right thing in TBC normalizing Rage. Like there is no reason why, like, imagine every time you did more damage on a mage, you got more mana. Like, that's impossible to balance. And that's the problem with the warrior right now. Like, I do not envy the job of Blizzard of balancing the warrior because it is definitely hell to balance this thing.
Yeah, compared to the other class, I definitely think it's very hellacious to do, but I don't think it's all that hard. I'm not a big fan of the, I guess you'd say, the dev team. Although I don't think it's really the devs. I think it's the business side. Like,
they are not getting the resources they need. That's as simple as that.
I bet that like the way it works as a dev at Blizzard is business side tells you we need this in the game, and then your job's just to figure out how to get that. Because like working as an engineer at a big tech company, that's like really how it was. It's like, we need this, make this. It was very rare that, oh, hey, we have this very abstract problem in the business. You can solve it any way you want. You're just like, this is the concrete business problem. Solve it with tech. So I bet they're like, this is how we want the runes to be. Implement these runes exactly. And then the programmer goes and reads their code base and types it out to work that way. They probably don't really make any decisions on how the game functions.
Well, technically, it's supposedly that Agrend, and I don't know how it works internally. I would love to know, so I could like blame the right guy this time. But technically, Agrend has the final say on the design stuff. Like, I am sure they push onto him in a bunch of stuff. Like, they tell us we want this much raiding, we want this much PvP. Like, I'm sure the top down gives them that, but I don't think they get I don't think the top level leadership intervenes on balance. I think they just are not very good at it.
Yeah, maybe. I would think it'd be like when people talk about how Ian Hazakostas like is the head designer of the Mythic raids and retail or other things too. I don't know too much about retail, but I the vibe I get from it is that he's deciding what the raids are like, and then there's an army of devs under him that actually implement it that way. I don't think that it's probably super collaborative. I mean, maybe it is, but people also say that working in the game dev industry is like soul sucking and not very creative. That's like kind of a meme with it. So I would kind of imagine these devs don't have a lot of creative control, but maybe they do. I wonder if Agrand even gets to pick how the balance is. I wouldn't be too surprised if he's like a product manager and he's just responsible for making sure they like hit deadlines and stuff and for talking to the community. He might not even get to pick what happens.
Oof. Yeah, that's just rough. Like I still will blame me on Hasicostas for a bunch of stuff because it is very clear, for example, that he believed in Titan Forcing until the very end. He was a true believer on that one. Like he is responsible for a lot of bad stuff. But there's nothing I would love more than to see who to blame.
Yeah, I kind of bet that I kind of think that probably if Agrand had complete control, Sod would be better. Almost anybody, I think, if just like one guy had a ton of control, it would end up being really good. But I bet it's designed by like a committee of suits, and they're trying to figure out how to make it work for the business. And probably the great business strategy overall is how to get people onto retail where the lifetime value of a customer's higher. And that's why I think we'd see things like Plunderstorm, you know, like, because you got to imagine, even a guy like me or you, I've been paying the sub for, I don't know, was it like the last 5 years? That's like no money at all. They've made like hardly anything off us. But one guy on retail goes and buys 5 tabards, and it's like they make more money off them in 2 months.
I used to pay $2. Do you know that one? They got rid of regional pricing because all the bots were abusing it. But I was balling, bro. I was like all my friends. I was like, I want to play WoW, and they were like, I don't have a sub, and I'm like, it's on the house, man. Take it. Do something nice with it. It's $2. But now I pay full price.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I wish they'd let you like get on a phone call of customer support and just get the cheap price. Cause like, you know, for you, it's no problem, but it does suck that they're just pricing out people all over the planet. I get that there's a bot problem with having cheap subs, but it'd be nice if there's a way for real people to get cheap subs. Like how much food could you buy with like $15 American, like in a month, like where you're at?
So
like how many pounds, I don't know, like steak or something.
Not a lot, honestly. Meat got really expensive for some reason. Probably like 3 kilos. If I want to get something for soup, like a tough cut of meat, I could probably get 5 or 6 kilos. But
I'm a dumb American. What about in freedom units? How many pounds is that?
I don't know.
I think it's like
20?
2. I don't know, per.
I think it's 2.6 per. So yeah, something like 15 pounds.
Yes, that's expensive. Like in the US, dude, like a pound of like a decent cut, like $15, like or higher, pretty normal. So like that's kind of crazy to me, the idea that they're just gonna price it like that. Where you're at, it's basically like 10, 20 times as expensive.
It was still nothing. It was still nothing though. Like even for Argentine income, like your average Argentine guy makes $300 right now, which is like misery. But like even your random like gas station worker could afford WoW now, and now like it's a real like they got priced out of it sadly. Like a lot of people got priced out of that one because it wasn't a smooth change, right? It wasn't like we went from $2 to $6. We went to like $15.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't like that, especially because it doesn't probably even make business sense for them. Like they probably collect less money by doing it. You know, like it'd be one thing if it was the best for Blizzard financially, but kind of in my opinion, it might just be a way to throw like a bone to the people who are mad about RMT instead of like really addressing the problem. Like I think like the real way to address RMT is you ban people willy-nilly and you hire an army of customer service agents that like are willing to have a real talk with you. So that way when the AI bans you incorrectly, you think I can get a person in 24 hours and get this fixed. Like as a kid, if I had a problem with my account, like I remember in Wrath logging in one day, all my account, like all my gear was sold, and I was just like, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And I logged out and I had no worries that Blizzard wouldn't resolve my problem instantly. And it's like put the ticket in, log in the next day, everything's fixed. When you trust Blizzard like that, it's like, oh, this game rocks. They should make that again.
That actually justifies the $15 when you know there's actual people working that you're paying. Like, I feel when I pay $15 that I'm just paying Neo Hasicostas to roleplay on his chair and like have his little kingdom of 100 people do nothing all day. Like, he doesn't even go to Classic, the money we pay. That's the saddest part about it. Like, yeah, the average lifetime value of the customer is much higher in retail, but like all the resources go to there and we get nothing. I don't think that's conducive to like a healthy relationship with the company either.
Yeah, I think they should find a way to get us to want to pay them more money. Like myself personally, I'm not super into skins and stuff in games, so like I probably wouldn't buy it. But I don't really think it would hurt the feel of Classic if there was stupid skins you could buy, and if maybe players can decide if they want to be able to see them or not. I understand people don't like transmog, but like make it so I can toggle on or off if I see transmogs of other people, and maybe make it so the default is it's on. Because if you make the default is it's off, then nobody will have it like, you know, on normally. So make the default be it's on, sell people some skins, find a way to get the whales to want to give them more money, so that way they can actually care about this version of the game.
Oh yeah, like they gotta do something. Like I know people are gonna push back, and that probably the founder pack was like a terrible RP move, especially how they tried to hide it until the very last end. Like people, like they thought people were stupid. That only exacerbates it more. But I don't know. Like, be creative for a minute. Would I be willing to pay $20-$30 if that meant I got like actual customer support? So like, let's make like a free economic zone in WoW. Let's make a new server. This server has real moderators and you gotta pay $5 extra for it. I will go there. I'll go there. I see
dude, yeah.
Opportunity zone policy, you know?
Yeah, I love the game enough. It creates enough value for me that like even if it was 5 times as expensive or probably even like 10 times, like I'd pay it. I'm not saying they should do that with the subs, but like there's all this extra, you know, like price is what you pay, value is what you get. A lot of the people who are serious about the game get so much more value than the price. If you give them little ways to get some more personal value, they'd pay it. And I think that makes business sense because anything that we talk about with like what Blizzard should do, it needs to make sense for them financially. But they seem like petrified to use their brains with monetization. Like the WoW token is a weak way to monetize the game. It has a lot of problems.
It cannibalizes their own customers. They are competing with themselves. That's the main problem with it, right? Because like, yes, like there's a lot of people that wouldn't play the game if they couldn't buy a token, but there's also a lot of people that would have paid the sub and don't because they got the token. That's probably gonna be me in Cataclysm. I'm just gonna do 2 CDKPs and pay for my sub.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know if it like cannibalizes it though, because people use it as like a backdoor way to RMT. I bet it still ups the revenue they get, but
absolutely, yeah.
It causes problems. Whereas like I don't think skins cause problems. I think especially if Blizzard was just really honest, like people watch their dumb 45-minute presentations that give so little information, like the SOD release trailer. Like, I mean, everybody's doing React content to it because it's just easy to pad out the time on a video, but yeah. What's what we should do? We should put that on, and then we can just pause it every like 2 minutes and like yell.
Yeah, I pause every word now. That's the way you gotta do reaction content. And then people spam post champ in the chat, and it's a whole thing.
Exactly. I wish that they would just have like a guy that is the king of Classic. Like seriously, like take somebody in the company, make them the king of Classic, make their job super tied to the financials of the game. Let them become a gajillionaire if they can increase the profitability of Classic. That kind of stuff, I think, all on its own would fix the game. Like especially would let them cater to really serious players. Like a thing I like about RuneScape, they cater to very serious players, but some of it is because very serious players spend more time on the game and spend more money. And there's always the promise of the game getting better in old school RuneScape over time. And WoW, that's not really a thing. Like you're worried as a very serious player that
We
they're
are
going to do stuff that
subjects.
makes you feel. Yes, yes.
We live under the kingdom. I think it's just like bad business period, like the resource allocation of it. Like it is very clear. Like I don't have the picture right now. I should have told this, but like you see the sub leak, right? Like they leaked their sub numbers in a presentation the other day, and like Legion had like I don't know, like 7 million subscribers, and like now Classic hit like 9, I think, when Classic came out, and now like during the new expansion, I don't even know the name, Dragonflight, they hit 7 million, like the same amount as in Legion basically, but with Classic on it. So let's be honest, like I think they are maybe getting like half the player base like they used to get in Legion in retail right now, because of partly because in Classic, but because not. But like, how come we're half the player base and we get like 10% of the budget? That's my pet peeve with it. I'm not willing to let that one go. Like they could do a lot. I hope so. It's gonna be like a good proof of concept for them to like get a little more ambitious on Classic.
Yeah, like, but I think if they can't find a way to get more money out of people that are really passionate about the game, there's no chance. And like those sub numbers, we all know they're faked too, because like I remember playing as a kid, for example, and when I was a kid, like I was a little bastard. So one of the things I did is I actually like got like a bot. I couldn't figure out how to get Glider to run, so I like just wasted my money on that because I was like 10. But then I bought this like random German bot that eventually they like paid the dev to shut down. It's like people didn't bot a whole lot back then. There wasn't a whole lot of gold farms. Like those subs back in the day were way more real than modern subs. When they're saying they have like 7 million real players now, there's way more of those that are fake than there was back in the day.
Yeah,
and
that's
like also it's just
people,
business propaganda.
People say like, how come RuneScape does such an effort to ban bots or Albion Online? And the reason is like it's a free game, and like when you make a bot and you're not a real player, you're costing them money. Bots give them money, so I don't think they will ever crack down on them too hard, because like every time they are guy bots, now they get $15 for it.
Yeah, I mean even in RuneScape, it's like half the players online at any time are botting. Like there's a guy I used to drink with in college that he was a full-time RuneScape botter. Like he wrote bots and sold them. And that's how he made all his money. He used I can't remember, it was like some reflection Java API library that some guy had, and he just made dumb little bots with it and made like 6 figures. And I was like, what the hell? Like they don't just catch you. It seems like it'd be so easy. There's so few inputs. And he's like, dude, they do not catch bots. Like if you write a good bot, they're not gonna catch your ass. I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah, like they got like super advanced tools now to catch bots. Like there's a huge arms race going on. But if you started early on, even in WoW, right? Like software for at the time was so crap that Chinese slave labor was cheaper than botting. That's why we got the stereotype that the Chinese are like gold farmers. It was cheaper to like get prisoners in China to farm gold for you than code a bot.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, if you were smart back then, you made a lot of money.
Oh yeah, it kind of blows my mind that botting wasn't bigger back then. Like I remember being a kid running just this one bot on my account and being like, wow, this thing makes like $10 an hour worth of gold. But I'm like 12. So instead of thinking like, hey, you do this times like 50 and like get rich, I was like, this is so cool. I don't have to pay for consumes. I can buy my arena partners their gems. And that's like what I did.
I'm
surprised somebody wasn't like,
even back then, like a kid, like 2004 money, like that's probably better than mowing lawns.
Oh yeah. I remember doing the math. There's all sorts of opportunities in WoW. Like I remember doing the Serenite shuffle in Wrath. It was like $15 an hour worth of gold. I remember being like, wow, that's crazy. It was probably actually more than that. Like I remember I would like play, because I was a kid and I didn't have like a credit card, and I would like get character transfers from my friends, and I would like give them gold. The
baller in the group. Okay, so
yeah, well, I go on.
No, I was saying, like, did you get to check out the Phase 3 runes yet?
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm familiar with them.
Yeah, which one is the one that you think like shocked you as the most broken, busted out of them all? Like, what's the one that caught your attention the most?
Gladiator Stance being like a doofus rune like caught my attention the most.
Yeah,
Just
like
the
sucks.
yeah, I'm like, why is it made like this? It's I don't know how to make a good one. I think that's very hard type of rune to make, honestly, but just like, man, it doesn't seem like it got any thought. It seems like their goal was, okay, guys, we gotta give the warriors a rune. All right, if we tell them they're not getting runes, they're gonna be pissed. Just make the runes suck so we don't screw the game up. All right, just they like that gladiator stance. I heard people on Reddit say that's awesome. Make a rune named gladiator stance. Make sure it's bad. Ensure it's bad. We don't want to fuck the balance up, guys.
You know when you got an essay in school and you gotta write 2,000 words and you got like you get to the point in 1,000, so you gotta like do like the whole filler thing. Well, that's basically what Agrand is doing, in my opinion, for that rune. Like, there's no way even he thought it was a good idea.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. They're just trying to hit the word count on some of these things. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they told us, hey, you guys get like one rune this like phase, and if it's OP, you're gonna lose it. Like that'd be fine with me. I know a lot of people be like, this is bullshit. The other class are getting this and that, but like trying to treat everybody the same isn't fair. Like, yeah, warrior scales better. Treat us differently. That's okay. Give us less. I don't think it would really bug people if they were just honest about the realities of why.
Yeah, I think there's also like a big community problem. Like, warrior is by far, to this day, even after the nerf, is still by far the most popular class in the game. So like, I don't think they will ever allow warriors to be bad. Or like, chill, Alio, guys. But like, I think there's like a perception now that people in vanilla, warriors in vanilla, think they have a god-given right to be S++ every tier. And like, that's not how everybody else works, okay? Like, no, you're not gonna be the best one every time. It's fine.
Yeah, as long as the it's like, in my opinion, balance is when most people have a good experience, and a lot of people that, well, they'll say, oh, warriors were 75% of the raid team in an elite team in classic, and so the game was imbalanced. Like, my take on it would be that as someone who ran really high level raid teams, like not super high level, like not a salad baker's guy or anything, you know, but just like lots
Thank
of people.
God.
Yeah, you know, but it's like oh my god. But you know, it's like mages didn't have a hard time getting into raid if they're really prepared. Like, in fact, I would say most people who weren't warriors put in 1/10 of the effort to get into raid. So like, I would say the game was super balanced in classic. Like, TBC wouldn't be an example of a super imbalanced raid expansion because you need like 6 or 7 shamans to be ideal, and it's one of the least played classes.
And
if you
warlocks.
don't have it, it makes people have a really bad time. So it's like TBC is an example of dog shit balance. I think Classic's an example of most people have a positive experience. It's just that, like, if you're a mage, you're not going to top the meters, but you'll be able to get into a raid, and there's things where you're essential to the success of the team. I don't think
TBC
warriors
was
have
more
that right now so much.
artificial balance, in the sense that even if specs sucked, you still needed them because there were like so many crucial buffs that you needed. Like, a spec that was doing fine in the damage and nobody wanted was the rogue because they didn't bring any buffs. Because like, even if you suck, if you give 10% more damage to the people in your raid, like, it's still mathematically worth it to take it. Like, you look at some of the 40-man raids when they had to stack warlocks like in Molten Core, it was mathematically worth it to take a Shadow Priest to buff him. Not because the Shadow Priest was good, but because like 10% times 5 warlocks, it was a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think that's the model.
It's a little telling that Blizzard tries to appeal to meme specs, in my opinion, in SOD, and they're saying we want to give the Rep Pallies and the Shadow Priests a chance because of what happened to them in Classic, and it's like, that's not the right way to look at
Reparations.
it. The game needs to be... Yeah, it's like the game needs to be fun for everybody, and you do that by making everyone kind of essential in their own way. Like, if Warriors... had like Shattering Throw and Wrath. Like, if you gave something like that to Rogues, I think Rogues actually get a worse deal right now than Warriors, but at least they're like okay in PvP. I don't think they're like excellent by any means because they're melee. But give some kind of utility to Warriors or Rogues, and then you can make their damage way less good. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me the way that their vision for SOD, in my opinion, is to band-aid fix things as they go along. I don't feel like there's like a real fleshed out vision on how they're gonna make this Classic Plus.
Well, the original promise was that they weren't gonna touch the base class, and then they started touching the base classes, so I think they kinda realized it was stupid. Like, I don't quite recall now, but they changed a lot of things from... Let's see, there was something I wanted... Oh, swipe, right? That wasn't a rune. There was no rune that gave you 10% attack power on swipe. They just realized it was stupid. Let's hope that the next iteration of this, they actually change the classes alongside it.
Yeah, I think that if they were willing to change some of the base functionalities of the classes, that would make it much easier to get good balance. I think just these runes, I don't think it's like the greatest way to do it, but we've kind of opened Pandora's box already. Like the second they said runes, I was like, oh brother, like I think they'd be better off stealing some stuff from, example, the Chinese servers where they had a separate company than Blizzard controlling the IP, and then eventually, for anybody that doesn't know, they revoked the access to the IP to the Chinese company that was managing their servers over there. Having stuff like world buffs dropping every hour on the hour in Stormwind, I think that's awesome. Like Classic's a proven concept. People love fresh servers. Add incrementally onto that like old school RuneScape, but like making all these changes, like them saying Phase 3 is gonna rock, guys. We're doing 1,000 item changes. That doesn't make me think you've done so much great work. That makes me think like, oh Jesus, dude,
Oh my god, this
changes.
blue maze is better than my old blue maze. Yeah, you know, I think the problem with Soda and the legacy of Eon lives on here. They just ripped Azerite gear. Like, runes are just basically Azerite gear again. It's not a new concept, really. Like, I just hope that they take all the best runes from Soda, like the most popular ones, the ones that people like, and just put it as baseline crap for talents and be done with it. Like, they gotta redo the talents. There are some specs that make absolutely no sense. Like, Atoms, Mortal Strike freaking sucks, okay? It's nice now, it does a lot of damage now, but the Mortal Strike hex scales with, like, assume you get a slow weapon, you get 90% of your attack power. Bloodthirst is 45% of your attack power, okay? Like, there's such a disparity between even talents that, like, even if you're 200 warrior, you want to go Fury at 50, you're going to see it already. Like, nobody's going to go Arms anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you have a 14 speed weapon, fucking MS just, or well, I guess you need a 7 speed weapon for Mortal Strike to scale the same way as Bloodthirst. So it's like, good luck.
I remember I was like a long time ago playing on a private server that a friend ran, and he made like, he coded me like he was messing with stuff. He gave me like a 1000 speed weapon, like a swing every 1000 seconds, and I just one shot the King of Stormwind.
That's funny.
That's how it works.
Stuff like that used to be fun. It used to be fun doing like private server PTRs to practice shit before like before BWL came out, and I guess BWL came out in 2020, right? Not 2019.
Yeah, it came out in February, that. I think. February 2020.
I remember doing a fucking PTR BWL trying to learn how to tank Fire Maw. And this is so embarrassing, but like I like fucked the mechanic up, and the raid leader's like, this is what you did wrong, and like I was just feeling nervous, and so I was like, I didn't do it wrong. Like, oh god, I'm still scarred by acting that cringe in front of like 39 people.
Usually it's tanks struggle with Razor Gore the most.
Like, oh, I might have said the wrong one. The guy with the fire, or whatever one that was, I might have said Flame Gore instead.
No, you say right. Razor Gore is the one with the eggs. You know, like everybody messes up in that one. The first one.
Yeah, people have used strange UIs, and then they can't see the smash eggs. I always tell people, like, turn your fucking UI off for that fight. Or don't trust rogues or hunters to, like, do that fight, because if they accidentally vanish or feign death, it just wipes everybody. Which I haven't seen yet, but I've had tons of friends have that happen.
I get that a lot, like... People tell me your UI is too ugly, like it's just flat colors, there's like nothing on it. But you look at some people's UIs there, and like they got a freaking spreadsheet all over their screen. Like, do you really need all that stuff? Like, the more stuff you get, the less crap you get to see. And if you're a caster, that might be fine. But if you're a melee, you gotta see a freaking game, my brother in Christ. Like, a lot of the time they don't even know what's going on with especially tanks. Oh my god, so many tank UIs I see that are like they got like this much on the, taking my webcam as a reference here, but they got like this much of the screen is just damage meters and threat meters. Like, make it tiny, and like the threat meter I understand, you need to see that one. But why do you care to have the damage meter in the middle of the fight, wasting a lot of your screen? Your bars, the default bars are terrible, but like some unit bars are like people get bongos and get the buttons like this big in the screen. Like, do you need those? That's space that you're wasting. That's valuable space when you don't get to see where the boss is moving.
Yeah, and like people will get add-ons. There's some add-ons that are just dangerous to have. So for example, healers will get add-ons that try to detect why someone died, like, and see the sequencing of events, but they're not actually very accurate. and they like hit the API really hard. So like they're constantly like asking the client for data. And when you use fucking add-ons like that, the odds of you crashing a UI element or like the add-on giving incorrect outputs like really high. I've had so many times where like a tank dies and I'm like, guys, like obviously you didn't get a heal, and some healer will be like, but my add-on says this. And I'm like, okay, what do you think the logs are gonna say? You want to bet me like $100 that the log says I'm right now? And then they're like, but the add-on. I'm like, bet me money or shut up. And no, it's like it's dumb. People have too many add-ons a lot of times, in my opinion. I like have nothing for add-ons. I got the threat meter and DBM. That's usually it.
Yeah, like if you take a look at like the top raiders UIs, which they got way more information than you will get because like they are like trying to kill Mythic Plus on day one, and that thing is like synchronized swimming while you are jumping off a space shuttle or something. But their UI is still like super simple. They got a lot of like weak auras and crap flashing on the screen because there's so much stuff going on in Modern WoW that you needed to like even know what's going on. But their UI looks like quote unquote crappy. They look like they got like just a couple stuff. Even healers, they got like 10 unit frames, kind of like this size, and they do like the HP on red and green, and that's it. That's all you need. If you overdo it, you're doing something really dumb. When you look at complexity and you think that's smart, you're being dumb.
Yeah, exactly. If I ever have a UI error, where it's like at the Lua error, it's like this thing crashed, then my first thought is I gotta like turn some add-ons off. I mean, if you never get that and your UI is always stable, then like your add-ons are fine if you think that they're fine. But me personally, I like keeping it light on add-ons. But some of it is, even though I've worked in tech, I hate screwing with tech and add-ons and software. It makes me angry as hell.
Yeah, and like there are some add-ons out there that like are so inefficient because like it's not like, for example, thread meters, which this one I consider unnecessary. That's just an example. It's not like the game tells you you're doing this much thread. The add-on has to guess it basically, and guessing that amount of thread that you're doing takes a lot of computing power. When you got like 40 people in a raid doing stuff, that's how it crashes. Like Lua is not very efficient. Lua is the code of
I think nowadays it has an API. I think they put it in like TBC or Wrath. So I don't think it actually has to compute it anymore, but definitely like early on it did. Like I remember like first phase of 2019, you'd have weird outputs on fights like Onyxia and shit sometimes.
Never worked right.
Some ways it's better. Yeah, like sometimes it would like be totally wrong, but then other times it would like work better. Like I remember it would give you info about her targeting basically for the fireball. There used to be so many exploits in Onyxia and on Rag until Asmongold made videos about them actually, and then they got fixed, which is hilarious.
The hero
like Rag used to clear
again.
threat. It used to be character creation date was how Rag selected which people got knocked. And so like me and like my co-GM for my guild, we were both like super autistic and like gotta get our names instantly. And we get knocked every single time on Rag until Asmongold made a video about it, and then they like changed it and made it random. So it was like hell on earth because we were both tanks, and so we'd get knocked every single time on Rag.
That
over and
insane.
Over again. Like yeah, they put in tons of crap like that in the game. It's like
that's not even easier. That's like so much work. Just make it random.
It's so funny they had shit like that.
Oh my god! Yeah,
I love it.
That's probably 2004 code right there. That's gotta be 2004 code on Ragnaros doing that. There's no way that like a modern programmer thought that was a good idea.
I love the idea that just a couple people did all the scripting for MC, and I think it was like in a week or a weekend. Maybe I have it wrong. It was like a month, but it was a really short period.
Less than
of time
a week,
because rating was like an afterthought. Like that's so cool to be that productive at work. Like the kind of shit that I would do at work, it'd be like test that the button makes the right beeping sound. You have 3 months, and I'd be like, I'm gonna need all those 3 months because I have to use weird tech. It'd be so cool to be able to work on shit like that.
That's how we get a team with like 100 people that cannot fix the game. They like imagine having 100 people doing this. That's what you get. But
it's so funny.
Okay, so
like how productive private servers are. Oh, what were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah, like that's a perfect example right there. Like it's a one-man show. Like I don't want to name him just because I'm gonna get in trouble now, but I do love you, man. But like there's this guy that is like a like a super schizo guy that like just talks about the government all day, and like he got like entire race done in 2 days. He worked
Oh
did
yeah, I know
a
what you're talking
rework.
about.
He did a rework
The
for the
TBC one,
paladin.
right?
No, it's Vanilla Plus kind of thing, but it's like his own thing.
Okay.
He coded a battleground that it works in 2 days in Ashara Crater. And like
Have
you
you
got
checked out
100
that
people and they cannot
Thunderstorm
do
stuff
that.
at all?
No, I don't know on retail. I don't know on the expansion. I would have probably tried it, but I'm not paying for it. Did you try it?
Yeah, I haven't tried it. No, I think a MOBA and WoW sounds like a really fun idea. I wish it was like actually part of the game though, like you could queue into a MOBA. Even if it was like really poorly made, like it was just like your character you get airdropped in and there's like buffs you run around, like like in a Warsong, they have like the berserk like one makes you hit harder. Like even if it was like absolute dog shit like that, I think it'd be fun. So I kind of wonder if Plunderstorm is awesome. I just think it's a great idea to have like really fast PvP content like that, even though I'm not super into PvP.
Like honestly, like I think it's a great idea to get a new audience because like WoW hasn't been growing for a long time. Even Classic, when it quote unquote grew, it didn't grow. It just regained all people. Like I think we are kind of the exception on that range. Like most people, like my average YouTube viewer is 5 years older than me. That is like so rare on YouTube. And like I think like that's like even if it's not for me, right? Doesn't bother me. Like they can be happy and I can be happy. God bless them. So I don't know. I probably won't never play it though. I hate Fortnite. I tried it. I didn't last 3 games and I uninstalled it.
Yeah, I'd probably get smoked at it because I've only played these like super boomer games lately. Like every once in a while I'll play StarCraft 2, but I only cannon rush people. I'm pretty good at cannon rushing though, okay? I can get a higher rank doing that, but I can't play anything real where I have to move more than 2 things at a time.
Yeah, like as you get older, you get shittier at games. I got that feeling on me, and I don't even think because I play less or anything. I think that's just the bandwidth of your brain gets shorter.
Dude, for real. I remember being a kid and like when I played the game, it felt like I was in the game and could make my character do exactly what I wanted. And when I would screw up, it'd be like what I wanted to do was wrong. And nowadays, like, I mean, I'll get my fingers crossed sometimes and hit the wrong button. I'm like, wow, it's like I'm senile now.
Yeah. And like that, like I people made fun of Asmongold a lot of time when he said something like that he doesn't like Mythic Radiant anymore because he thinks he's not at the same skill level anymore. And I'm like, bro, just wait a couple years. He's right. He's right. Like,
and he's good.
yeah, he
People
was
think
like
Asmongold's bad. He's a
outrageously
fucking
good.
great player still.
Like, what's the name of Indestructible was a top 100 guild for like all of Legion. Okay, like he wasn't bad.
I didn't know that. Hell yeah.
He wasn't like a top level guy. Like, of course, he wasn't in method, but like statistically speaking, there is probably not a single person in this chat that is better than him.
Yeah, no.
At his
People
peak,
say
at
got
least.
carried to Gladiator, like, and I don't know too much about carrying people, but I feel like you have to be really good to get carried to Gladiator. Like, you cannot be dog shit, I don't think. I tried carrying people before. I was
You
like
gotta
2200 rated,
but
and I had a, yeah. It's hard to carry people to 1800 when I was 2200. Like, super hard. Like, oh my god. So I can't imagine carrying somebody to like 2700 rating. Like, maybe if you're like an actual alien and you have 5000 MMR, it'd be easy. Like, if you're Wreckful, you could probably carry someone the Gladiator, but fuck, dude.
yeah, like they abuse a lot of things. They actually play classes that make it easy to carry. You know, it's not like you can just play anything to carry people with it. It's a whole thing. It's the same in League of Legends, right? You don't see like Lulu carrying elo boosting. You see like people that one shot or people that do this and that and like have an easier time winning. But yeah, there are still like super autistic people that like play 14 hours a day and like make like less than minimum wage on it. It's really funny, the whole
It's
arena
nuts.
carry thing.
Oh man, dude, like League MOBAs, that shit gets me. Not anymore, probably, but it used to get me fuming when I was like 18.
Oh,
God, I did so much cringe shit yelling about teammates.
yeah, like this is the thing I like about this game. Okay, this is why I cannot play League of Legends anymore. When somebody sucks, I just kick him. That's it. I am the master of my destiny now. Again. That's the way it should have been from the start, brother.
That's right. That's right. Oh man, games used to be so much less balanced back in the day. Although I guess WoW actually was super balanced back in the day, in my opinion, because I think Classic is a really well balanced game, and I think I think Wrath's pretty well balanced too, although I mean Warrior got hosed at least in the first phase. That's the only phase I played of Wrath in the relaunch, but still pretty good, especially compared to games like League, which used to have like 70% win rates. Like I remember I used to play Flavor of the Month shit with like a 70% win rate, and then I would have like as in like the overall statistics for the character would be 70%, and then I'd play the character and I'd also have a 70% win rate, and then I would think I'm good, and it's like it means you're fucking average, buddy. It means you're fucking average. But when I was 14, I was like, oh, I'm so good. I can play Ezreal when he can two-shot people. I'm so smart.
Yeah, like if you take a look at how they are approaching balance right now, and like you look at the graphs, those gaps do not exist anymore. Like I think that's why a lot of like the OG theory crafters kind of like don't do videos anymore. That's kind of like I think one of the reasons that we started doing really good in this game. You cannot really come up with stupid stuff as often anymore in WoW.
Yeah, I hope I can come up with something dumb for phase 3, dude. All of phase 2, I couldn't come up with like anything that I thought was pretty much any good and stupid.
The one Modern Warrior was really funny.
Yes.
Do you think you were gonna get a one Modern Warrior again?
Maybe if you use like that gnome sequencer add-on, so you can do a very fancy one-button rotation. Oh, I could maybe see it, because if you don't use Consume by Rage, you could overpower every 6 seconds and slam every 6 seconds, and then Mortal Strike or Bloodthirst, depending on how you do your build. But I would think that you'd want to be a 2-handed specs, probably Mortal Strike. So it's like maybe you could actually make a one-button spec in phase 3, although it probably like wouldn't be all that hot. I won't make a video about it unless it's like pretty close to the meta shit. Because you know, if you make a one-button rotation and it's like, what? Now you can do 70% of the optimal DPS. It's like, okay, like
if you say it was good in the title, I just say it was one button. I didn't lie. Screw you guys.
Yeah. I'll just show the sim and then I'll just like edit the numbers, and then people be like, how are you getting this result? That'd be so fucked.
How to get a 99 parser? It's just a Photoshop tutorial.
Yeah, there is at least one thing in this video that's incorrect. Just fuck people.
Yeah, like, do you think Camps is gonna do good the next phase at all? Because I am not very bullish on it.
What's gonna do good?
Adams.
Sorry, I wasn't paying.
Adams DPS.
Oh, maybe. I haven't been like messing with the sim too much, so I don't really have a very educated opinion on it. But I wouldn't doubt if a lot of it depends on just like the itemization of the weapons. Like, it seems to me that in phase 2, for example, they didn't make the two-handers have enough excess damage on them compared to one-handers. Whereas like in Classic, you could think of something like Might of Menethil, and it has, I think, 126 DPS, and like Wrestle has like 80. So it's like 50% more DPS. But then the fist weapon is, I think, like 34 or 35 DPS.
Same in BFD, it was like a 5 DPS gap, I think. Like the epic sword, and the Talbar, and the Talbar was like outrageously good because it was so slow. But like, I think another way that they are holding us down, the main is keeping us down, is that like the weapon in Omegan is super fast. Like 3.3, that wouldn't, even in Classic, that would have been a good weapon. Give me my 3.7.
Yeah, if they like normalize MS, and if they like normalize all the cast moves for warriors and then make it so that way you don't have to worry about the weapon speed, like then it could make sense to me. But if there's not extra DPS, it seems like the two-handers are just really disadvantaged because there's not extra DPS on them. And if you dual wield, you basically get, after the offhand or the dual wield offhand weapon skill thing and what you call it, the Fury Tree, it's like you get 62.5% more scaling from AP. Yeah. So it's like two-handers have to be juiced to make sense, because like even in Nax, having a two-hander with 50% more damage than fucking Gressel, that still wasn't enough to make it make any damn sense.
My favorite example is that Sulfuras had 80 DPS in tier 1 and it still wasn't best in slot. Like, I think the best weapon in Molten Core, it was 60 DPS, if I'm not mistaken, the best 100 in the game at that point, and it was kind of fast. So like, that's a comparison you can go for. And like, the problem is that they balance dual wielding around the hit penalty chance. And like, they didn't know at the time that you could just heroic strike out to that one. So like, the whole math for it is wrong. They gotta redo the math, and I don't think they will. But yeah, and like, I hope they normalize Mortal Strike, but like my problem with it is I am not mad that they normalized Devastate, guys. I am mad that when they normalized it, they took away like a 30% of my damage. That's what I'm mad about. I hope they normalize it, but normalize it around like a good number.
Yeah, if they're gonna redo all the weapons, it's like also kind of weird because then they could just design the weapons to make sense for whatever their vision is. Like I think it would make sense if they want to have a new flavor to make two-handed specs be the best for warrior. As long as it doesn't, maybe it could be weird because horde players, I don't know if shaman players, for example, prefer two-handed enhance to be the thing over one-handed, but like think about the conflicts on loot with players, and then based on that decide if warriors are going to be a two-handed spec in PvE or not. Like I think stuff like that'd be nice. Take problems away from raid leaders and guild leaders with the way you balance items and the classes. I think that would help so much because like the current iteration, like end phase Fates 2, I think it's pretty stressful to organize a group, I think. And that's a problem that trickles down to everybody, but like it's invisible to a lot of players. They just see, I can't get into a raid, but they don't realize like it's because there's all this pressure on the group organizers.
They complain that you supposedly, because it's not true, but they say, oh, you need a 99% full vesting slot to get into a pug. But at the same time, they think it's not fair that you ask for like basic competence in your group, and at the same time they don't want to start their own group. Why is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you think it's that easy that you can just take 7 great parses into a raid and clear it, make your own group, get 7 great parses. You're gonna be done in 5 minutes. It's not hard to get 7 great parses.
Yeah, there's a lot of entitlement people have, like, or people will be mad about reserving stuff. When I first started making groups, I thought that reserving stuff seemed like bogus, and so I believed that if I didn't reserve stuff, people would respect me more for it, and they would consistently show up to my groups. And what I found is it doesn't matter at all. Like, if you don't reserve stuff, like, what'll happen is people won't be like, you're nice for not reserving stuff. They'll just see you that one time, and you'll get nothing for your time. Whereas, like, if you reserve stuff and you give it to your homies keep showing up, So it's like,
yeah,
people have no actual conception on how the real world works. Like, it's hilarious.
Same thing, right? Like they complain about the reserve thing, but you don't see them making their own group and not reserving, because if you're gonna spend 45 minutes reserving, doing a group, like you can reasonably, I think it's not unreasonable for them to expect that they get like dips on something. Like setting up a good pug takes. This is another thing that like gets me, that people never want to join guilds. And okay, I get it, if you're like busy and you got a schedule that is hard to predict and you cannot show up to a raid consistently, pug might make sense for you. But it is so much more time than just being in a guild. Okay, if I want to raid, I just show up. That's all I gotta do.
Yeah, like they could balance the game in a way where you don't need to have a guild as much. Like on Classic Era, you can do MC, BWL, AQ without a guild and without AQ level gear. No problem if you're a serious player. You might need to put a little effort in to get into AQs. Like I was able to get into AQs in like Prebus, but the way I'd do that is I'd message the raid leader and I'd be like, hey, if I'm not like in the top 5th of DPS, like give me nothing. So it's like if you're willing to get some skin in the game, it's pretty easy to get into any content in Classic Era. And I mean, also my experience, like back in 2021, like I took people in greens to Nax all the time that I knew were good. It wasn't a problem, especially a really high skill role like healers, which, in case anybody hasn't heard this before, in my opinion, healer is the highest skill role in the game because you have random shit that's totally unpredictable happen all the time. Unless you're in a super organized group, and then
or if you're a druid.
Yeah, I drew it. I fucking hate HOTS, dude. HOTS are so dumb. They just steal heals.
That gets rid of all the unpredictability of it. You just roll life loops on the tank and spam wild growth. Like, you can play it with one hand at this point, easily. Like, I got 2 buttons on my mouse. I could play on my mouse and not use my keyboard, and nobody would notice at this point. It's great.
Yeah. I wish that they changed how HOTS work in the classic versions of the game, because like they are really not very competitive. Like if you look at the elite groups and basically all the versions, I should say maybe not in Wrath because I haven't checked beyond the first phase, but like in TBC and Classic, like HOTS are not taken by the best people. It's because HOTS suck. You can cancel casting beats it out for tank survivability. And for raid healing, it's weak because you can't top people quick if you're raid healing with HOTS. Like, Just the whole system, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And people love hot specs. They should make them better. Like, oh my god, so many
Yeah.
people love playing Druid.
The problem with HOTS, if you make them too good, is that they take no skill. Like, it's a lot harder to get a cast, a precast, and a cancel cast going than just holding people. And like, if you look at like why TBC druids are so busted, is because if you got like no mana concerns, TBC was like free mana for everything. You got like Mana Tide, you got like Innervate, you got like Mana Tide was actually good back then. You got the Shadow Priest, and the druid was one of the best healers in the game because they could just spam heals all day. And like that's when HOTS shine, when you just pump all day. But yeah,
I think for like an average group with long kill times, like Druid still had a niche in TBC. They are very mana efficient, but like if the goal is to take as few healers as possible, then like the niche for HOTS disintegrates. Like I wish they let you overheal somebody by like 5%. Yeah, you know. I mean that's another issue of exactly with the shamans. It's like you want to take a bunch of shamans and it displaces the other healers. Like TBC is so fun if you have a meta comp. It's like it's the best if you have a meta comp. If you don't have a meta comp, it's fucking hell on earth. I'm sure there's warriors in the chat or like rogues that like some of them were in a meta comp. They're like, it's the best fucking expansion ever. And some of them like didn't have a shaman in half their raids and they're just like want to shoot themselves.
I basically got gaslighted into the shaman life. My brother, like he showed me when I was a kid, he showed me like a video of like what's it called? That guy from Vanilla that like one shot people with the hammer all the time, the enhancement guy. He was like boom boom boom, and he was like, don't you want to be this guy? He's super cool. And I was like, oh yeah. And then it came time to do the on-shots and stuff. He was like, no, you're healing.
I used to always play a healer until on private servers I got into a fight with my main tank's girlfriend, and my main tank asked me like, should I break up with her so I can keep raiding with you? And I was like, I'm not. Yeah, he asked me. I was like, bro, I'm not gonna tell you to break up with your girlfriend over a video game. And so like we actually just stopped being friends basically. Like he asked me like, should I break up? And I was like, no, dude. And like we just like we talk every once in a while now. Like we're cool now. They broke up after that, but I was like, fuck this. I'm being a tank. I'm being a tank. This is never happening again. But I was always a healer until then.
Bro, if you're seriously considering breaking up with your girlfriend because the guy you raid with is like because she's mad at the guy you're raiding with, he didn't have much time in this world anyway, I think.
Yeah, I just didn't feel comfortable telling him like, dude, she's obviously crazy. I was thinking like that's not the right thing to do. You shouldn't influence him like that. But I should have, because it would have been good for him, and also then I might be a healer. Which actually that might cause me problems in other ways.
That's
but,
hilarious.
Yeah, I'd never played warrior before that. Like,
yeah, I was thinking, oh, I got kicked out of the raid. I was expecting you to tell me a story like that.
Yeah, no, I had some crazy shit happen on private servers, dude. Fucking ridiculous ass shit.
That's gotta be a private server story. That's gotta not even written is insane anymore.
I made a mistake of joining a guild named the Bench Puro Fan Club and thinking that the N word wasn't going to be the favorite word of everybody in the raid, and I had to make a new group because they would not stop. Private servers are fucking nuts sometimes.
Yeah, like if you take a look at the private server guilds that like are still around, like this is my favorite example of all time because I was there day one, like watching it. Salad Bakers, you know, one of the best speedrunning guilds in the game. They come from Northdale. They run in Northdale. Okay, these guys are private server people. When they got the world record for Molten Core in phase 1, like the fastest Molten Core in Classic when it came out, they put it on speedrun.co, I believe. That's the website for speedruns. And of course, you gotta upload a video of the proof that you got in that time. And like in that video that they officially uploaded to the speedrun thing, they had people saying, oh, I am tired of this bleep. I am bleep, don't do that, bleep, you gotta stop saying that. Like they were dropping it live. I don't know how they still stream.
Oh my god.
They are still on Twitch, most of them. That's funny.
That shit's fucking crazy. Oh my god, dude. Private servers. I love the balance on private servers, though. Yeah. Really like the world PvP being a possibility, too, although I wasn't super into that, but it was cool. Single blade server, you can actually have people be all next to each other, unlike this cloud virtualized bullshit where it's like, oh yeah, you want to have like 100 people in the same area? Well, here's the problem. One server might have to talk to another one across the country. Oh,
I hope you don't want to throw spells anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
guys, please only hang out in groups of 30 people.
There was like several videos of this, like some private servers were like coalitions of like 5 guilds. We're talking like 200, 300-ish people fighting another coalition of the same amount of people. There was no lag. You look at the bar in the video, it was green. And they were casting just fine. And like here, we get like 50 people in one layer in Ashenvale, and it crashes the server. I had the server crash to me like so many times in Ashenvale.
I wish some private server devs would make content, dude. I'd love to know like how they engineer this crap, because like they're all.
I'm gonna
super
share you one.
You're gonna.
I'm gonna share you one guy.
Hell
You're gonna love him. You're gonna love him.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me that like a couple unemployed dudes in Eastern Europe can like run circles around $1 billion tech company. Like, what the fuck are these people doing? And they're just so cracked. Most of them probably are self-taught too, which is like even more nuts. Because I went to college and I don't feel like I know fucking anything about computers.
Oh yeah, that's insane. And like they got used, like, I don't want to break it down too much because this is like a long topic, but like they had to like call, like, the people that made the core that most servers use, they had to call like a math teacher in like, I think it was Serbia. They had to call a math teacher in Serbia to like tell it, should explain it to them how the 3D calculation of like where you are works, because like back in the day, like you would get off a boat and you get one shot because the game thought you fell off 3,000 feet or something. And like they had to do like insane workarounds. It's like the story of that, like how they got it done is insane. It was a work of like 20 people. Nobody knows them to this day. They're like thankless work here.
Yeah, it's like the Quake shit with the fast inverse square root. I don't know if you guys are fucking nerds. So go check out on Wikipedia fast inverse quick.
You mean the bunny hopping?
Quick inverse square root. No, it's like how to see the it's how to take the inverse square root quickly, because there wasn't hardware for it when Quake was made. But yeah, go read the
you mean the tables?
Like
they had to pull it off. Yeah, like it was faster to like get a table of like several values of square root or something. How it was? You mean that one?
Oh, they do that too, but no, it's like they fuck, we're gonna make people bored. But
yeah,
floating point, when you store decimal numbers, it like naturally does this compression to it that like lets you basically simulate taking the square root of something with high inaccuracy, but enough accuracy for a video game. But yeah, go read it. It's like 7 lines of code. If you don't know how to program, it'll still like make you laugh, because it's like, how the fuck did somebody come up with this?
Yeah, like basically they had to do a bunch of workarounds like that. It's insane. Like $70 billion, they can get this thing like fixed in a week if they wanted to. Like the problem I think is that they didn't want to make new servers. Like for retail, it makes perfect sense to have all servers in like bunch of tiny servers, because like everybody's doing Mythic Plus or they are doing Battlegrounds or something. There's never like 100 people in the same place combined fighting each other. But when you put it on a different game that is not designed for, that's when you get the problems. I don't think they couldn't. I just think they don't want to make new technology for it.
Yeah, and I get that. Just they need to find a way to get some more cash out of us, dude.
Everyone
loves spending money, man. We want to buy shit that makes us happy. Fucking
Bobby, I will buy you a yacht. Fix Ashenvale.
Yeah, we're gonna all buy you another fucking yacht. You just got to make a product that I actually want, okay? Or well, not that I want, that all of us want, okay? Because what I want fucking piss people off, probably.
Oh, that'll be like Warriors do 200% more damage.
Oh, dude, I want fucking like classic fresh, except like fucking 5x XP, like make getting world buffs easy, fucking consumes. You don't have to farm that shit. You just go to the consume vendor. He gives you like 5 of them a week. Don't use them like an idiot. That's like what I'd want. Make the game like all about skill. Take all the fucking grind out. But maybe everybody would just quit.
I think we need some grind, but I agree with like most of that. I don't think you're too far off from like my vision of it. We all got a little vision of classic. It's never gonna happen, either of them. That's the common thread on all of us.
Dude, fucking when 2019 Classic came out, I tried to like make friends and level with people in dungeons, which is not the smart thing to do, guys. You need 4 friends that you do dungeons with, not like 10 friends that you like take turns playing with. It took me 11 days playtime to get to 60, and I got 11 days playtime in 14 days. I was like on the PC. Dude, like literally when 2019 Classic came out, I played for 3 days straight. Like I took Adderall and I was on the fucking computer until I was having visual hallucinations, and then I fucking went to bed.
Bro, why these like fucking poison, bro?
It was stupid as hell, but I was like, just graduated school, starting my new job in 3 months. It's gamer time.
Yeah, like I kind of gave up on it. Like when Classic came out, I was also trying to dungeon grind, but like it became very evident that like if you got like one bad mage, you can mess up your whole spell cleaving thing. Like yes, on paper, if you got good people, it's great, but like all it takes is one idiot to mess it up at that point. And I was like, I just quested on a druid. That's awful. Never quest on a druid, guys.
Yeah, I was melee cleave mostly, like before they nerfed the SM stuff. That was so dumb, by the way. Being able to do 10-man SM farms, that shit was so fucking
we would
fun.
send that's not out because they also had to nerf the IO Killrog. You would get like a warlock summoning the IO Killrog. You would run it all the way across to the boss, and like you pull like the entire cathedral in one go, basically. And since you got 10 people, you could kill them easily. You know, like 10 blizzards raining down. It doesn't take that much. It was insane. It was absolute insanity, that thing. I remember I pulled one pack. I was farming it like when I was level 38, I think. we were farming it. We do one pull, we get like half a level. And then we do the next pull and we get like nothing. Like they hotfixed it in the middle of our pool.
Yeah, that shit was so fun. It was super cooperative. People thought that like it was unfair as a melee, but like I only did a couple of the caster cleave runs as a tank, and then I was like, fuck this, things go wrong, and I just did a melee cleave. And like melee cleave didn't work good for graveyard because the mobs are really spread out. So like, you know, Aya Kilrog being so fast like was a big edge. But for all the other ones, like a melee cleave was totally fine. And so like I leveled melee cleave 10-mans until they nerfed it, and then mostly melee 5-mans. But melee players are like, oh, you know, the mages, they level 10% faster. It's unfair. And then Blizzard fucking nerfs, and it's like, you dumb fucks. This was so cool. You screwed it up for everybody. And we're OP at level 60 anyway, so it's like, fucking who cares if mages can level well, dude.
People love pretending. I think people love pretending that leveling matters. The leveling is good, especially like streamers. I think that they are the most guilty of this. And every time you give the chance of people, you get 50% more XP, you get 100% more XP. People are all over it day one. Like, have you ever seen somebody complain, oh, we're getting 100% XP now? I haven't seen anybody complain about it ever. Not once. Leveling sucks in this game. I'm sorry. I'm gonna burst your bubble. I don't gotta pay accounts to nobody. I can say it. Leveling sucks in this game.
Yeah, I think a lot of streamers just say it's cool because a lot of their audience doesn't play the game and they remember leveling being a real magical experience back in the day. You know, and so it's like they're pandering to their audience, but fuck, man, people who actually spend time in the game, they're like really serious players are like, I'm gonna get a fucking boost. So it's like, that means I hate leveling, you know, like, and most casuals don't probably like it a whole lot either because it gatekeeps them. It makes the decisions you make early on so important. Like, you're a new player and you like go read the tooltips, you're like, I'm gonna be a feral druid. I'm gonna be ferocious and do magic spells and shapeshift. You get to 60 and people are like, put on the dress. Put on the fucking dress, okay? You're healing or you're out of here. Yeah, you know, it's like, fuck that.
I was a little kid shaman. I was like, oh, let's go, guys. No, you're healing.
Exactly, like, fuck that. It's so risky. It's so hard to level, so it's so risky to pick the wrong class.
Yeah, and like, it's fine when you do it one time. That's the other problem, right? Like, the first time you hit 60, it was probably fun. The first couple of times. At this point, like, I don't know, I must have got like 20-something characters to 60, like private servers and classic and stuff. There's nothing on it anymore, guys. I am not a speedrunner. Like, if you're Tommy Salami and you like speedrunning, God bless your soul, man. But there's no value in this anymore. I just like zoning out the whole time now.
Yeah, if they made leveling a lot faster, it might even create a actual like traditional speedrun meta to level. Because like right now, how could it exist? Because you need to be so skilled to like get to 60 in 3 days, like the really good players do, or in like 2 days. But if it was like the really good players do it in 20 hours, like then somebody might be like, hey guys, like I'm gonna make an alt fucking over the next month, like it'll take us each 50 hours. Let's see who gets it the fastest. That could actually be kind of cool. You could race with your friends, because 50 hours over like a couple months is reasonable, but if you're an average player, you'd probably take more than 6 days play time to get to 60. So it's like fucking crazy madness.
And that's kind of efficient, right? Like six days of play is not bad.
Yeah, I wasn't fucking around. It took me 11. So
yeah, like if you look at the, I think it also took me 11, but I did it in like 14 days. It was a dark time of my life back then. I would just sleep and wake up and play WoW.
Yeah, that's how it was. Fucking wake up, World of Warcraft, eat food, go to bed. It
Oh
was
yeah.
fucking awesome the first time, but you're just so amped, like, oh dude, the game came out again. I'm gonna relive the glory days, But like
It
now it's like,
was
fuck, brother, I got a level.
no, no, hell no. But it was such insanity. I think I was 19 at the time. And like I lost like 2 or 3 kilos because I didn't even feel hunger at some point, bro. It was like being high on bath salts all day. That thing. I'm never doing that again. I remember I would try to sleep, I would close my eyes and I would see HP bars moving in my eyes. I wasn't on drugs, I swear. I would just see like
There you go.
Yeah. Never do that, guys. Never do that. Like it sounds funny until you do it. No, I'm never doing that again.
Mm-hmm. Is the Sunken Temple knockout's gonna be 7 days, right? Or is it gonna be 3 days again?
I think they're gonna do the same compromise where. Oh no, wait, no. Quick question, chat. Okay, we didn't get to see this yet. Why can't we get inside Sulfarrak, eh? We cannot so need to Sulfarrak. I think we're getting attainment. Don't wanna get you too excited, guys. I think we're getting attainment for 3 days. No, Sunken is gonna be 20. 7 days, yeah. See, Sunken Temple is 7 days. I know that for a fact, but like, I think we're also getting attainment, boys. Just saying, wink, wink.
I hope at 60 they like don't totally change ZG and they leave it pretty easy because I used to love doing ZGs. I did ZG like almost every day in Classic from like when it was out
great.
to like when shit ended. Yeah, I would do it on like I had so many warrior characters. I'd do that shit every day. I'd play with my guildies and I would get like falling over like drunk in ZG and usually regret it afterwards. But it was so fun to just do that all the fucking time. Although people should not do that, it's bad for you. But
that's why I play so many characters. Like I just like raiding. That's what I like to do. Like to this day, my favorite raiding classic, and people like cannot believe me when I say this all the time, is AQ20. AQ20 is my favorite raid. It was the perfect combination between like not really needing to try hard and like just going there and pumping all day. I would do it on like 4 characters back in Northdale. It was great.
That's right. San Medina to the top of Northdale, dude.
Oh no, I was pretty awful. Like I got to, like people eventually like find you on YouTube and because I used the same name back then, and like they were like, nice. "Oh, you were such an asshole," and I would like look at them and I would be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I was an asshole."
That's so funny.
I was quite a stinker back then.
I've had a few people like hit me up in game and they're like, "Is it you?" I'm like, "Dude, no one's gonna fucking copy me. I'm nobody. I'm a fucking nobody. Yes, it's me. Hello, you want to talk?"
You got like a super fan so right funny. There that is making a human guy with long hair and he's like with a shirt with a toucan on it. That's a transmog.
I feel like you're gonna be in the next video and then I fucking forget. I like lose the footage and I feel like an asshole. I'm like, oh man, fuck. Yes, if I ever said that to you, like I meant it, but I'm an idiot, okay? But I did mean it.
Yeah, no, I was really mean back then. Back then, that's a whole rabbit hole, but that's for another day because I was. Oh yeah. Well, you said something about the Sunken Temple. I did read conversations so too fast.
Getting lost in there. People are gonna get lost as fuck in Sunken Temple, except warrior players, because we're tortured by Blizzard and have to go there for the fucking flask. So we're a little more familiar with that stupid ass place. That's gonna be so funny. People getting lost in there, like, oh my god, and people are gonna argue in Discord. I don't know. I'm pretty sure. I did this 15 years ago. I'm pretty sure we like go to the 4th floor, guys. Like,
I get lost in Nomeregan, dude. I get lost in Nomer all the time. Like people are like, "Why are you taking the long way?" I don't know. Like, yeah,
this is the long way.
I know that's just the way I chose. I'm like a dog, I just take the right side every time. And it's like really funny how you do not remember the layouts of some of these dungeons. I think like Sunken Temple is particularly awful. Probably second to Marodon. No, Marodon is not even that bad. The outside of Marodon is awful. But Sunken Temple is gonna be like one of the worst layouts on a dungeon ever. Like they admitted it when Cataclysm came out. They had to simplify it because it was so bad. Completely archaic. I do look forward to it though, because like I got a lot of good memories in Sunken Temple. Especially because in that level bracket there wasn't anything else you could farm, so everybody was stuck in there for like 5 levels until we got to do BRD, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd always like, whenever I had to do the Diamond Flash shit, my wife usually plays the healer, so I'd get full world buffs and we go 2-mana because I fucking hate asking people to help me out with stuff. So it'd be like, okay, we're gonna do the Sunken Temple thing on my like
2
14th
hours.
warrior. Yeah, you know, so it'd be like fucking get the world buffs, we go to Sunken Temple, we fucking 2-mana. You can fucking wipe with 2 people in Sunken Temple if you're not careful because there's the dumbass MCs and fears and stuff. So like, it's not like trivial. It's easy, but like if you're a dumbass, you can lose your world buffs and then you just can't do it.
Yeah, like one thing that I look forward about Sunken Temple is that tanking is gonna be like extremely challenging. If it is anything like the original, there is gonna be so many big pools, and the warrior is not getting any AoE, so it's gonna be the old school, the old style of like tabbing stuff. People get really upset when they gotta hit tab on a tank, but that's my favorite type of tanking. I hate boss tanking, like not because it's bad, it's too boring. It's just devastate. That's all you need to do. But when you want to hold aggro on like 8 mobs, that's when you really, because you can do it if you're insane, okay? But that's the good challenge. That's what I like about Sunken Tempo. Let's hope we get more of that.
Yeah, I like when there's big packs and they don't all matter. Like in Nax, I would say a problem I have with the trash is all the trash hits hard enough that it matters for the most part, and so it needs to all be tanked. But like, for example, in MC, it's like, dude, fucking 2 tank it. Like, as long as you think your highest DPS players are all warriors, like, you can leave shit untanked and they'll just have it on them. Or like ZG, same shit. Like, it's cool as a raid leader or as like a tank, like main tank, even like an off tank, to be able to be like, I can accept that this half of the pack is just going to be on random people, and I know it's not going to cause a problem. Like, it makes the game more interesting, more cerebral. So I hope it's like that in Sunken Temple, because if they make all the mobs hit hard enough that they have to be tanked, like, I think that's kind of boring.
Did you get to see the new rune we're getting for, which one is it here? Vigilance. Was it? Yeah, Vigilance. Did you get to see that one yet?
I can't remember what it says. What's it do?
I'm going to spoil it to you. You put a buff on... Oh my god. You put a buff on somebody, and you get 10% of their threat, so 10% of the threat they produce is gone, and you get it instead on you. So you create a 20% threat gap on them. But the cool part is every time they get hit, your taunt gets refreshed back. Okay, so I think one cool thing that we're gonna see on Warriors is that we're gonna Frost Nova the mobs. Of course, as you know, when you are the only guy in melee range, when you Frost Nova mobs, they hit you, even if you're not in the threat table. And I think we're just gonna like put that on a mage or a warrior or somebody, and like you're just gonna be having infinite taunts because of that. I do look forward to
might be kind of cool.
that style of tanking, because it's still gonna be hard. You're still gonna have to be tabbing and taking attention and looking at the nameplates, but we're gonna be a lot more capable on AoE too, even if it doesn't show like flat AoE threat. That's my favorite style of tanking. I wish it stays that way, that the warrior is like a super strong tank and he can AoE tank, but it takes a lot of work. Because the shaman just plays Mortem Blast. It's not fun. Like, not to mention that I can just do one air shock and I have aggro for 10 minutes. Like the real tanking has always been the warrior. Even if I'm a bear fanboy, I gotta say the warrior is what a tank should be in vanilla.
Yeah, I love the playstyle of warrior and all of them. I mean, in TBC, it's like maybe a little boring compared to the other tanks. It's like actually probably like the lowest skill. But like in Wrath, I imagine they're still not very good, but like Phase 1 Wrath, it's so fun. Like Shockwave, all that shit, jumping around.
Spell Reflect.
Yeah, like that shit's really fun. Just stuff to make tanking, like, it doesn't have to actually be hard, but like, if it gives you the feeling like you're making a lot of actions that matter, that's really what it's all about. Like hide it to the player. Like, for example, like Prot Pally and TBC, it's actually like you just hit the same shit every time and there's zero thinking at all, but like you hit like 5 things, and so it's like it feels good. Like you feel like, oh, I'm gonna be so smart.
You hit Consecrate, like, and then you run around and you got somebody slow the mobs and you don't take any damage.
Yeah, but you know, it feels like you're really doing something. Like, it's good. It
feels amazing. It feels amazing. I know that's my favorite tank of all time. I think the TBC Prot Paladin, because it was both broken but really, because like your only limit was how many you could tank, especially with the TBC Trinket. You know, that Trinket that healed you every time you blocked. I could tank like
that's just fun.
From the start of Shadow Labs to the Ogre boss, not the first boss. The second boss of Shadow Labs, I could tank all the trash in one go. That was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know it was too broken.
Shit like that's awesome.
But yeah, like, just give us something like that. Like, if you're gonna make it easy, yeah, if you're gonna do it in that direction, and I'm not opposed to it, like, make it so you still got somewhere to push yourself. Like, some way to, like, go above and beyond on something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that Paladin trinket that you mentioned, I mean, or well, you know, it's for anybody, but Paladins usually used it. Like, that's such a good example of stuff that makes the game better, because it doesn't really, like, you think about game design wise, it doesn't impact elite play fucking at all. It doesn't impact PvP, but
It's
it gives you
useless on
something that
bosses.
you'll keep in your bags. Right, yeah. But it feels really good, and it's not really useful on trash and raid either, but it's like awesome for 5-mans, and for 10-mans you can find things where it can be handy. I like stuff like that. Or like that teleport trinket they put in, or well, I don't even know it's a trinket,
The wall warper,
teleports
yeah.
you to random places. Like, that's sick. That's so cool. Or the sleeping bag, like, whoever fucking came up with those ideas, give them a raid. Give them a fucking raise. Those people are so smart. That makes the game more fun.
Yeah, like, like Trinket, like the word of it is like some junk you keep around, like a bunch of like hoarding stuff. I always thought like the way of the trinket should have been something like you got like 6 trinkets and they all got like, they are good for different things and you use them. I really hope we get that kind of deal again. That's gonna...
Yeah.
Okay, we got a lot of questions from chat. Wanna address them now?
Sure, I'll see.
Okay, will I still be a target dummy for boomies and mages in BGs? WM Carter, my brother in Christ. I am very sorry.
Dude. Unless you're Bist at 60 in era, you're still a fucking target dummy for those guys. Well, maybe not boomies, but...
Do you want to address your chat on the questions? I don't know if you're live yet.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm live. Let's see. I don't think I have too many questions, really. I think we're just accidentally hitting most of them up.
Also, thank you for the Get 10 gifted members, bro. I kinda like... I gotta change my overlay. It was too noisy. I had to disable it. Ooh, look at that. I am wide. I am on the other side now. That's odd.
My shit just...
Did it crash? Yeah, your webcam is not on. I hear you though.
Okay, I'll fix this in a sec.
There we go. That's my boy right there. We're back to normal.
I gotta figure this out. I'm 800 years old. Gotta fix OBS probably. Oh, we're back to normal. Okay, it's a miracle.
God bless you.
Yeah. The second some IT shit like that goes wrong, dude, I'm like, high alert. Like, I don't know how that works. It's like I always take the stream key out of OBS every time I'm done using it, because I'm just worried I'm gonna accidentally go live. Like, no fucking way. I'm not connecting the YouTube account. Like, and I delete that key every time.
Bruh.
No fuck ups.
Bruh.
I'm an old man with the tech like that. I do not want to screw it up.
Do you think Blizzard gave up on the WoW IP and they are just milking it at this point? I do see a lot of that. I hope that... I think they were that way until Microsoft got bought out. Like, if you look at Plunderstorm, even though they probably cranked it out in a month, you look at Plunderstorm, it's not like they had to do a lot to make it work. I see some ambition on WoW again, and that's great. Like, I don't know where it went the last 10 years, but I'm really happy to see some of it back. I do still think, though, that they think it's an IP, which it is. So that's sad.
Look, we can make a video off that, dude. Read the fucking 10K for their public disclosure on their financial. Maybe they actually say where the different like revenues from. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
My favorite time was when Asmongold bought like 2 shares on Activision Blizzard so he could sneak into the corporate call.
Oh my god.
He was there in the call live. Yeah. Because you got a legal right to be there if you got shares. Oh, your stream went down?
Oh man. Did it?
No, I'm asking, like, I don't know what happened.
Oh, I think it's up.
All right. I thought you were having some weird issues with the key or something.
Okay, yeah, it's good now.
Tanking Samken Temple makes you wanna take a nap, but Eranicus is legit difficult. Most groups wipe Eranicus because the second person on trade table gets panicked. Oh yeah. Yeah, that... Well, that and the pool before Eranicus, I think it is, the one where the ghosts chase you. I hope they do something cool with that mechanic, you know? You remember that part where like there are ghosts that you cannot kill, but they chase you, and if they reach you, they do like a trillion damage, and you gotta kite them. That's fun. That's a fun pull right there.
Yeah, oh my god, it's gonna be fun. People are gonna probably try to skip trash, and unless they change the trash behavior and like it pulls on the boss. So many funny things. Hopefully people can keep like a good attitude about it. Like I bet people won't care about dumb wipes like that at first. They'll just think it's funny. And then everybody will know in like 2 weeks, like how well all the raid leaders and tanks will know how it works in like 2 weeks, and then the runs can be smooth.
Yeah, it's only challenging the first week or 2 weeks before all the strats get optimized, and then it goes to hell, you know. Like, same with Nomer, like Electrocutioner was like the guild killer, and now that everybody knows like what to do more or less, people are not winging it anymore. It's like a tank and spank at this point, basically. And the rogue skip. I don't know if you know about the rogue skip, that's hilarious. We got a rogue in my guild that like steals through the whole thing and just clicks the lever for us, and we teleport to the boss. We don't even do trash anymore.
Oh man, that's funny. That's like the Oro skip in AQ40 where it's the same shit. You just get some people over there, they fucking aggro. Or well, you get some warlocks teleported over there, and then they fucking summon the whole raid.
The speedrunner leaderboards were very cool about it. They banned it. They said like, no, you're gonna do a rogue skill if you wanna do a speedrun. So the spirit of speedruns is fine. But that's so cool for me though. Like it got my numbers in like 15 minutes easily.
It's crazy how much control the people who balance the log system have over the meta. And also I think it's pretty amazing that I think they've done a pretty good job. Like I think they're a good steward. They're a way better steward than Blizzard's been of World of Warcraft.
Can you imagine if like you need a Grinch from 6 months ago to be able to get at 99? Like
yeah. I wish they would have like left the grandfathered some of those in, because I mean it kind of sucks that people like meted around it and they didn't let them just keep it.
Like
but
my view of it
keeping
is
that shit in's bad.
They should have just used fancy math to like subtract it off your damage. You know, I don't know if that would be like quite the way to do it, but it sucks that you're doing a raid and you're pumping and you're doing great parses, and one guy pops the Grinch because like maybe he doesn't know, maybe he just hates you, and you don't get logs for the whole raid now. That sucks.
Yeah, it'd artificially make the boss health lower, so like probably they couldn't do it because it'd make your CD uptime higher. But like, yeah, I mean, there's stuff similar to that, like how they do damage attribution for Hysteria and Wrath, I think. Pretty sure, but I could be wrong about that.
Or fire meshes in vanilla proper, that thing was really annoying. I hope they rework, what's the name of Ignite? I hope they rework Ignite, because that thing is gonna be super. Not only is a threat nightmare, it's like one mage gets artificially threat from all the other mages. How is that fair?
Oh yeah, shit's fucking wild. Ignite's so interesting, and how like the best mages, like they say the best raid groups, their mages do so much more damage since they like sync hitting like the pyros and shit on pull, and like making sure they have like an optimal Ignite stack up. I don't know all the math about it, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's fucking cool that people can do that.
It's like a sophisticated dance of 10 people, and one guy does something wrong once and like he dies, he pull aggro and dies. It's interesting to know about, it's not interesting to do.
You can get so fucked, like for example on Thaddeus, like you can get about to pull as a mage and like maybe taunts on CD, and you lip, and like the second after you lip, he like drops the fucking charges and reassigns them, and if you're lipped while the assign goes out, you don't get a charge, so you just insta die. Just That's fucking hilarious. Kills you instantly. Yeah, it happened one time, like this girl in this raid like died from it, and like she never fucked stuff up. And so it was like, how the fuck did you die? And she's like, I swear to God, I didn't fuck it up. I don't know how I died. And we like went through the logs. We're like, okay, I guess this is a mechanic we didn't know about.
Happened to me the other day in a raid with Bob on stream. Like we were doing Electrocutioner and we were doing just fine. And all of a sudden we are one shot. And we're like, you did the rotation right. What happened? Like basically if you're, the guy got like for a brief second behind a pipe and like he line of sighted the boss. And before they nerfed it, like day one, people were line of sighting the mechanic and it wouldn't do any damage, so people were basically exploiting it. And the way Blizzard in all its wisdom fixed it is, instead of like making it go through walls, they just made it one-shot you when you're line of sight, so that happens sometimes.
God, it's funny.
They fix things in the funniest way possible. Like, why am I gonna do 2 lines of code? I'm gonna make 1. I'm gonna change the number.
That's right. That's how we do it. I love how there's micro mechanics that are weird, but not like one-off mechanics like that. I'm not super into. But I like how you can multi-shot around corners, or like you can cleave around a corner if someone's in front of you. Like if the primary target's in front of you, but the other guy's around a corner, you can still cleave them. Like shit like that's cool. Or you can auto attack through walls. I
Pillar
don't know if any of you guys
humping.
like haven't done
Yeah.
AV. Yeah.
If you do
Like
arenas
in
in
AV,
TVC,
fucking hits me through a tent.
they hit you all the way from the other side of the pillar. If you're a torrent, you got a big hitbox. Yeah, like it technically touches. Yeah, so it doesn't.
Dude, it sucks that they took the torn range. They took that out in the fucking classic
Yeah.
era, I think also. I think it's still in hardcore, but I'm pretty sure it's not in SOD or classic era. It sucks because like that's such a big nerf to Tauren to get shorter arms, and like they don't have shit else that's good. Like give them long arms. I don't fucking play Tauren, but they should have long arms.
I
It's
would play a
hilarious.
torrent if it did 10% less damage, my dude. All my characters are torrents. Like like all my characters are the same black torrent that you're looking at him right now. White horns, the longest possible black torrent. When I change a class, it's like I am the same guy and I'm just changing clothes.
There we go.
That's the way you do it. Torrent for life, brother. I'm really happy. I discovered it through your video, actually. That was a huge breakthrough that they nerf weapon skill. So,
yeah, I love that they did that change. It's so smart that they just made the bosses too. Like whoever came up with that, like that's fucking genius. That guy, very very smart.
They probably snuck it in and didn't tell
mechanic.
Blizzard. That's the worst part about it. They probably didn't even tell their bosses. Because it didn't show up in the patch notes.
Yeah, I wonder how they decide what does and doesn't hit the patch notes.
Well,
interesting.
Sometimes they try to do it if they think people are gonna get mad, but it's just dumb. Just put it on the patch notes. Like that's it also makes simming so much harder, right? Because like if you're the guy that's in charge of the sim, like they do a change overnight one day and you're not gonna know until like somebody tells you because it's not in the patch notes.
Yeah,
that's gotta be a really
Devastate
hard
crits
job.
Working.
Yeah, that's gotta be a
they
really
didn't have
hard
that in
job.
the fucking patch notes.
That's a great example.
Yeah, Guybrush is fucking genius, dude. Fucking psycho genius. Not like as in he's so genius it's like crazy. He's not a psycho. He's a fucking awesome guy. Or like Meiji, all the people who did like the warrior theory crafting, like anybody who hasn't fucking checked out Meiji's GitHub before, you got to check out Meiji on GitHub because he did all the research for everything that makes the foundation of warrior theory crafting.
That's the guy that discovered the base values of threat of everything, right?
I don't know if he did that. Like, I think he did that for a lot of people, but he's the one who like kind of like the scene came around him and formed all the stuff. So like they've done so much like data gathering and analysis. He's like the guy in charge is the way I see it, but it's too much work for one guy to do. Same thing with the sim. I don't know how much of it Guybrush made. I mean, he might have made like 80-90% of it. I'm not sure, but he has a bunch of people that contribute to it now.
Yeah, it's open source, the sim. I got no idea.
Yeah. I like tried messing with before to like just change little things, but Guybrush is such a great guy. If like anybody has an idea for like a weird feature, you can just message him and he'll like totally talk to you about it. So like you can download the code and mess fit yourself. It's well engineered, but you can also just talk to Guybrush, and if you give him a compelling reason, he'll probably just put your idea in. He's super into the community, into his really fucking cool software. The guy's awesome.
Well, you kind of have to. Like, if you gotta do 10,000 lines of code, you're probably not gonna do it on your own. I mean, warriors are that insane that they probably would, but you wouldn't.
Yeah. I tried like editing it once to see like how recklessness would work with the for the change on deep wounds, and then he just created a feature for it like right after. I'm like, God, I fucking love this guy. He's so awesome. But also, I'm pretty sure the way I changed the code didn't actually implement the behavior that I thought it would. Because like I didn't like look at it that much.
Yeah, simulating a warrior is gonna be like such a advanced mathematical stuff. Like you're saying, every line of code is like a different variable that you gotta account for, or everything. Like there's 10,000 things that touch other things. Kinda like what's he saying right there? Like, can you imagine like engineering that, and how do you even know if it's right? Like the amount of work testing it that's gonna be, and like it probably boils down to like having a guy just like hitting like somebody else over and over for 10,000 times so they can average out stuff and see if it works, kind of like in the logs in the sim would tell you. I cannot even fathom the insanity that would be that. Hell no.
Yeah, I wish you could put that shit on like a resume. I kind of feel like a recruiter wouldn't give a fuck though. They'd be like, answer the algorithm correctly in the interview or you're not getting the job. But there's like 20,000 people who use my code every day. Fuck you. That's how I think it would go.
I'm told that happens a lot. Like people say, why do you gotta go to a boot camp for coding and like to get a job just code? And like they show them their GitHub, and if it doesn't say made in this boot camp, they don't care. Which is
Oh, no one looks at your projects anyways, because like they look through so many resumes. Like interview performance is the only thing that matters. You want to get like a programming job, just interview performance and getting the interview. So it's like make your resume to get the interview, but no one will ever check out your GitHub. Maybe if you're like,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, they'll look at it if you're applying for something like I applied to work at a hedge fund before and it was like a new one. I didn't get the fucking offer. I'm not anywhere near technical enough. It was like going to be like a 5-man hedge fund. And so he's like, "Do you have a GitHub? I'll check your code out." I'm like, "Fuck, dude, I don't have a GitHub." He's like, "Okay." And I was like, "This is a bad sign." Did not get an offer.
Like if I ran the world, GitHub would be the LinkedIn of coders, right? Like you tell me you wanna hire a carpenter, and he tells you, "I got like a repository of the 1,000 houses I made. Do you wanna see them?" And they are like, "Nah." Just telling me how are you about yourself? Screw that.
Yeah,
thing.
it'd be nice. I mean, like, I don't think everybody should be expected to have to create artifacts proving how good they are to get a job, but it sucks that if you do have those artifacts, you can't leverage them. That's just like
Exactly.
the modern economy is kind of bogus.
I mean, I imagine like at the volume they are doing it, it probably wouldn't be feasible, but still sucks though.
Yeah.
Like there is so many brilliant people that don't have a degree and will never get to do brilliant stuff with it.
Thankfully, if programming, like having a degree doesn't matter a whole lot. It will make it harder to get interviews, but the better companies don't really give a fuck. It's weird. The highest paying companies like are pretty likely to not care, but average companies like they take the degree thing as a super important signal. So like my wife, like she works at Google and she went to a CS boot camp. She has a degree in something unrelated to programming, but like it's
Google
really
I think was the first company to actually not require a degree. Like when that whole thing happened a couple years ago, I think they led the charge on that.
Yeah, they're famous for advertising it. Yeah, it's lots of companies do it. I mean, all the companies that do allow it advertise it because they get to win bonus points of people. But of course,
guess,
only Tesla say that, or like SpaceX.
I am not a programmer, like I know about it, so that probably tells me you're right on that. It was probably a publicity thing.
Yeah. But I mean, it is true. If you can do the interviews, you can get the job. But you have to get the interviews also, which is hard. As in, like it's difficult to get the interviews, not like hard as in it takes high skill.
Yeah, gotta know the people, gotta get around. You know, it's just life for you.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
Let me check in my notes. Are we forgetting something? Oh yeah. One thing I want to cover. I thought this was gonna be really interesting here. Okay. Did you get to see the Pro Runes Sword and Board and Shield Mastery?
Oh, is that the one where it like you get it resets the CD?
Yeah, that's
the one where it's like
Shield Mastery. Block value? Okay, so Shield Mastery, I'm gonna read it for the chat because most people are listening anyway. Increases your damage you deal by 10% when you have a shield, and well, that's the first one, sorry. Shield Mastery, 10% more damage when you get a shield. That's one of the runes for the Pro Warrior. I think everybody's gonna be taking that one regardless. But the other one, okay, this is the funny one. Sword and Board. Your Devastate and your Revenge have a 30% chance of refreshing the cooldown of your Shield Slam, and it will cost no rage. Do you think that's gonna be enough to make the Pro Warrior the go-to spec?
Yeah, I really doubt it. Like, I think Warrior has no niche as a tank right now. Like, it would be cool. I think a cool niche that most people don't think is cool unless they run raids would be making enough threat that you can hold threat reliably, but not doing anything other than that and being the tankiest. Like, I think that'd be a really cool niche because if you have bad healers, you could take a Prot Warrior. But like, of course, if your niche is just being able to hold threat and be the most tanky, it won't be represented at the highest levels of play, most likely. But I think that'd be a really cool niche. It wouldn't really fuck with the meta, and I think a lot of prot warriors like the idea of being a knight in shining armor and being like really tanky more so than the idea of like fury prot and like blasting. I mean, eventually you get drunk on the parses and you're like, I want to be fury prot and do big damage, but I
Yeah.
think a lot of the class fantasy is like, I'm an invulnerable knight and I got this big shield. So that'd be cool. But I don't
I
think we're
wish
just
they
gonna
put
give
like
us
some
that.
active mitigation on it, like what you're saying. Like make it not that you're tanky because you exist. Make it tanky because you pop the right ability at the right time and that kind of deal. Like something about shield block that would be a good idea. And just make it so. I think they messed up the rune. I think they really messed up the rune. Like nobody's saying that shield slam is too long a cooldown. People are saying shield slam is bad. Okay, even in this under these circumstances that they are saying here, Bloodthirst is still gonna do more threat than Shield Slam once you get gear, and that's not gonna change. I mean, like, yeah, for your average player, you might see prot. There's also this thing, right? Like, what kind of high on Warcraft logs are you saying? Because like, threat, there is no logs for threat. I wish they would make a log section for threat in Warcraft logs, so you could actually see the top threat guy. I would love be raising the mirrors on that. And
That'd be cool.
this might be better threat for your average player that doesn't have a lot of attack power, actually, because like it has no rage cost, and Defiance affects the threat of Shield Slam very well, so you got that little synergy going on. They are saying there's a lot of items in Sunkel Temple with a bunch of block value on it. I would love to see that actually later. Like
That could be
basically,
cool.
Shield Slam sucks because it gets one more point of damage for every shield block value you get. You get one shield block value per 20 rage. So compare that to like
I would
45.
actually love that.
Yeah, like
Shield block's cool.
I would love it if they change the formula. Like that's what they would have to do, right? Like either make it scale harder with shield block or like make us get shield block somewhere else, like in some other way. But like maybe if all the
Yeah,
tier
like
pieces have shield block, it might work.
yeah, if they gave a fuckload and they made it so you could play around it, like you can't really play around shield block in Wrath, but in the pre-patch for Wrath and TBC, when they made it so that shield block had all these mechanics, lots of TBC gear was given shield block, and it was given way too much in my opinion. So like for the
Yeah.
last two like lockouts, or the last maybe 3 or 4 lockouts of ZA. Yeah, ZA. I think it was a 3-day lockout. I had a full shield block set on my prot warrior, and I was able to do really fucking weird stuff in raid, and it was so fun. And against bosses, it didn't really do anything, but like against trash, I was fucking immune to trash in ZA. They like it could not hurt me most of the trash mobs. That was interesting, but not all the trash mobs are like that. Some of the trash mobs hit hard in ZA, so it's not like it broke the game. But something like that could be cool, and I think it fits into the class fantasy well too. Granted, I don't think class fantasy has to be respected, but like if you don't break the meta, by giving it, you might as well give it, I think.
I think we're already dancing. We might as well party at this point. Like this is season of retail. I don't think we are like at the point where I like the idea of respecting the spirit of the class. For example, I think they did an amazing job with the new rune of the Resto Druid. Like I think the Resto Druid identity is preserved and safe. But like we got healing mages and tanky rogues. It's already gone, my brother in Christ. It's gone. It's over.
It's fucking hilarious. I love that. I haven't heard that one before. We're already dancing. Might as well party. Fuck yeah,
That's a
that is
Spanish
really
saying.
what's going on. It's good. Oh my god. Love it.
Yeah, but like
So many of the pre-patch experiences have been awesome in the game. I fucking loved pre-patch. Like the meta's so weird. Although I doubt you could make a classic plus that's just TPC pre-patch. That might be lame, but I think a TPC plus could be a Wrath pre-patch, and that actually could maybe be sick.
yeah, like if you look at the Rat pre-patch, why did you love the Prot Warrior so much? You got the real shield slam from Rato the Lich King, where you did real damage. That's what we need. Give us real damage on shield slam and I'm gonna play it, okay? I'm not happy that I gotta play Fury, but like if that's the way to go, it's gonna be the way to go, and I think that's gonna be the way to go, sadly.
Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do. They could do so much with the itemization. Them saying they're making so many changes does leave the door open for them to actually change the meta, even with the runes being weird.
Yeah.
Kind of doubt they're gonna do it, but it is possible. It is possible. I don't know how much gear's been data mined. Maybe like all of it has, and people are only posting the interesting shit. Like people probably wouldn't think shield block's super interesting. So maybe like all of it's been data mined, and people just only post the 20 most interesting items, and they're all epics. Who knows?
Yeah, like if you take a look, like especially for warriors, itemization is a gigantic part of balance for them. You see with the BFD, that's my favorite example of it. Like, why was dual wield so stinking strong? And like, would it have been nearly as strong if the Home Water Talbar was 240 instead of 270? It would have sacked. And they are holding the warrior down with the Nomerax, like we said before, like it's too fast. They might, okay, the part that we don't get to see yet, right? They might make Shield Slam work if they put, let's say, I don't know, I'm being crazy here, 300 300 block value on gear. Okay, if you're best in slot and you got 300 block value on your gear, Shield Slam might actually be unironically good. But I just don't see it happening, man.
Yeah, I doubt it. I do wish they'd try that though. Like, as long as if their goal is to, they can do anything, and as long as they don't change the meta, they can buff something as hard as they want. So it's like anything where it won't become the dominant strategy for a class, they might as well go fucking ham with it. So it's like, you know, maybe if they add a bunch of seal block and it becomes the meta, maybe scale it back. But like, you can add it until it changes the meta, and it's just guaranteed to be positive. Like, and I think it'd be the same thing with like Shadow Priest or any other class or role or spec, Ret Pally, anything. Like, if it doesn't change the meta, you can keep buffing it until it does, and then like nerf it by like 10 or 20%. And you're just gonna increase player agency, let them play the way they want. Like, most people would be okay doing 80% optimal damage if they felt like it was unique the way they did it. Like, meme spec enjoyers were okay doing 40% optimal damage and being creative. So it's like, if you do 80, 90 and be creative, if the price of creativity was 10 or 20% DPS, so many people would take it and the game would be better off for it.
Yeah, especially like you look at Red Paladins, they did negative damage for most of their life and they were still there. And you go to their forums, they probably got like a similar amount of stuff that Warriors did on their stuff. And like, you know how much Warriors love Theorycrafting. So there's a huge like, people love the underdog. I think like if you got an underdog spec but it doesn't completely suck, people are happy about it. And
yeah,
like,
totally. And I think it's good.
Yeah, maybe if we get like a free competition, like a more or less fair competition on Fury, where your average guy wants to go prot because it does a similar amount of threat and it's easier. And like if you want to be like the absolute pumper, you gotta go Fury. I can live with that. I would probably go Fury anyway, but I can live with that reality. I don't think you gotta make it mandatory to play prot for it to be balanced.
Yeah, I think it's really nice also when you make stuff appetizing that's off meta, because like a big lie with parsing is people think getting a 99 parse means that you played top 1%, and it's like, you didn't because it's historical, but two, you didn't because most people aren't trying to compete with you that you're getting compared with. It's like, you know, your if you got a real elo in chess because you go to actual like FIDE tournaments, that's a real rating. If they included like all the casual matches people play with their grandparents, then it wouldn't be a real rating, which is like how parses are. But it's good. It's good that in parses, people value the 99 number, even though it's way more easy to get than if it was top 1%. It's a good lie. And if you put in these meme specs, what'll happen is these people make it so it's easier for serious players to get the 99s, and they'll have more fun because they'll buy into the lie that they're special. You know, it's like, why not let people lie to themselves that they're special if it doesn't hurt anybody? It's like, I really like that.
Especially for like the casual community, the casual poggers, because like if you are like a guy that doesn't quite understand the game very well, but you're hosting a group and you see somebody with 99s, even though they don't make any stinking sense, they're probably gonna take him anyway. Like my healer druid, I was in one fight, I was like cutting the fight, I was messing around, and like I started like I started fighting cat form and then I started healing people. I got like 399s on feral healing. And like you'll open my parses and they're like 99, 99, 99. I didn't do nothing. I was just healing. I just cat form 15 seconds on it. People think it's amazing. I'm not. Funny. I'm a really mediocre healer.
Yeah, and there was one day I've gotten some fake parses before. There was one day before the pre-patch in the end of TBC. So like they had a lockout where 2 to 3 days were in the pre-patch and one of them wasn't. And so like there was just this very narrow slice of time where you'd be able to get a login for a warrior. And so like I knew it was coming, and so like I like stacked the group a bit for myself and padded on it. So I got like 4 100 parses because there was just no competition that day. Because it was like this 12-hour window where you could parse in ZA, and most people were just excited for fucking Wrath to come out. So I got some
That's
fake
hilarious.
hundreds when I'm like nothing special. Yeah, it's like fucking. I was like hell yeah. You know, you get to feel good about yourself. It's like I actually didn't do anything. It's just I was the only warrior willing to play within that 12-hour portion.
Yeah, like if you take a look at like I always try like there's a lot of perceptions people get wrong on parses. Like the difference between a 90 parse and a 99 parse is not necessarily skill. Like if you want to be the top one in the world, there's a lot of skill in that. But like the difference between a 90, my dog is molting outside really bad.
Oh, it's all good. It's not that loud.
But the difference between a 90 and a 99 is cheesing it. That's it. Are you willing to cheese it or not?
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at
yeah, like
sorry,
nice.
go.
No, I'm just agreeing with you. Go on.
If you look at Alon though, why did he get the #1 ranking in Ladies Average? Because he was cleaving mobs when he wasn't supposed to. Nobody hits the ads in Ladies Average. That's the way you have to get a 99. And like that's the way it works when you gotta get a 99. If you gotta my view always been that if you got a purple parse, they should roll the credits. Like, you're done. That's all you need. Like I think you're a good player if you got a purple parse. I don't care. 99s don't mean much.
Like most people. Like it's good to have something to chase, but it's definitely not top 1% play. Which I like that it's like that. For example, if Gladiator could be given to 10% of players, but it felt like it was like still 0.5%, that would just be awesome, you know? It'd be great. It'd be like the same as if you could give people free money in the real world and it wouldn't cause any inflation, you know? If like just literally it made everybody richer, like that would be a no-brainer. It'd be like, can you do GPUs rain from the sky once a year? That would be good, you know? Like it just make everybody feel better. So like I like parsing not being as real of a thing. Whereas like you think of mythic parses and it's like final boss kill mythic raids, like bro, fucking a 99 there is real because everyone going to that shit is trying their fucking hardest. So like that shit's ridiculous. 99s in retail are fucking crazy.
Yeah, like I just cannot even fathom playing classic retail at this point. Like I watching streams of retail is too stressful for me at this point. There is so much stuff going on. They gotta keep a track of. I got like 20 buttons, and they gotta simplify that game. Like like why are we? You know, like they basically retail is in the way it is because they are balancing it around like the top 1% of raiders, like your metals, your I don't know who is the top raider guild, Maximo Limit is the #1 guild right now in retail. Like that's why we got the game the way it is. Like it's so complex that nobody can play right. Like if you were to ask Alaun though about what he thinks about the game should be better for him, like he would say, "Oh, make it so standing in fire gives you 20% more damage."
I think that shit's fun. I wouldn't be surprised if Alando would just be like, I don't know, I don't care. He just seems like somebody who wants to just fucking own at everything he does.
Yeah.
Like he can see into the future and control the flow of time. It's the only thing that explains.
I was just making up the example, right? But like, there's a huge bias on like the top level of play, and like it changes the perception of the community. And just because like it's really hard, it doesn't mean it's fun. I cannot play retail anymore. I know I suck at retail if I tried, and I think it's not good design either.
Yeah, I wonder how retail players feel about it. Like, I wonder if a lot of them just decide that they're not into the high-level PvE. I've only played, like, retail once in the past, like, 10 or 15 years or something since Wrath. Or no, actually, I played during the pre-patch of Kata and the pre-patch of Mop, I think, as a kid. But I wanted to do a Mythic 5-man. I think that's what it's called. Or no, a Mythic Plus. Yeah, that's what they call it. And I had some friends that were in, like, a really good guild, like a top 20 world guild, and I was like, take me to a mythic 15 plus, and they're like, you're out of your fucking mind. And I'm like, because it was the end of whatever the last one was, BFA, so I was able to just buy a max level character. So I like got a warlock, and I was like, take me to it, come on, what's the worst thing that could happen? It can't be that hard. And they're like, you're out of your fucking mind, you classic player, you have no idea what you're saying. And so, you know, we go into the fucking mythic 15 plus, and it's like every trash pack had more mechanics than every single raid and classic put together. And I would just randomly die and be like, okay, so is it I have to stand on the left side of the hallway here? And they're like, yes. Yeah, that's it. And then you have to stand on the right side 3 seconds later. Oh, okay, cool. Or it's like a trash. It's like, okay, so those particle effects, I stand in those and I don't stand in these ones. Yes, that's right. Just getting owned over and over and over again. And then eventually his friends were like, we can't fucking carry this idiot. We gotta stop. And then so we stopped.
Yeah,
But it was fun.
How is that fun for the normal guy? Like, you gotta be one of those nuts.
It's fucking cool that it's an option, but I wonder what a casual retail player does. Like, do they raid heroic? Do they raid normal? Do they just
collect
do
pets
LFR?
and mounts and do nothing else all day?
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I'm not into that, but
they do dailies from 10 years ago.
So good for them. Dude, fucking that shit. I've never given a fuck about mounts. I didn't have an epic mount until AQ because of world PvP being a pain in the ass.
It's the only like
I don't want to spend my gold on it.
It's the only thing that like normal people can still do. Like PvP is insane. Freaking raiding is off the table if you wanna do mythic. Like do you feel like you're killing the boss if you're doing it in heroic anymore? Like it doesn't feel the same. I know it's different difficulty and it's hard and it's still harder than classic, but it doesn't feel like you kill the boss if you are killing it on the easier difficulty, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Can you monologue for a second? Because I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I was about to cut it off anyway because my internet is kinda dying, so.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's go for a bit.
We've been going for 2 hours. Holy crap, bro.
Uh-huh. Oh, dude, this is fucking awesome. I love hanging out with you. I want to do this shit all
We got the Krabby Patty recipe right here, brother.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Gotta do this more often.
Yeah, in case anybody's... I mean, none of you guys are probably aware, but like me and like Medina hit me up and we like hung out like... It was supposed to be just for a little bit. And then I was like, this guy's fucking amazing. He's super based. I want to hang out with him a lot. So we hung out for like fucking 5 hours, and it's like, bro, let's do this on live.
He was like, moving out and moving his stuff in the room. It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I was putting my room together. Like, fucking, look at this dumb shit. Okay, so this is a green screen, but then I taped up this big piece of foam with an Ethernet cable and then taping the Ethernet cables. Yeah, so this is like, took me like fucking 5 hours and we were just hanging out and bullshit. Watch me just break this shit on stream.
I wouldn't mess with it. Yeah, Jake is funny. Jake is a charmer. I love Jake. He's a great guy. I don't know why I didn't hit you up sooner, honestly. This was awesome.